Chapter 861. Huff, huff, huff. Lin Feng gasped for breath. He had almost been cut in half at the waist. Thanks to his immortal divine body, he was slowly recovering. Take this. Lin Feng threw a precious 10,000-year-old spirit herb to Dugu Wutian. Dugu Wutian had contributed greatly to this battle. Thank you, fellow Lin. Dugu Wutian quickly swallowed the 10,000-year-old spirit herb. Under the treatment of the 10,000-year-old spirit herb, Dugu Wutian's face regained some color. Dugu Wutian, you traitor! You crippled my Dantian! Dugu Outyan roared, his face distorted. Dugu Wutian said expressionlessly, Dugu Outyan, you evil thief! For your own selfish desires, you eradicated a total of 172 forces and killed 35 million innocent people. I was your accomplice back then, and I felt uneasy every day. I was ashamed to face those who died tragically. My life was worse than death. After fellow Lin enlightened me, I abandoned the darkness and joined the light. Today, I destroyed you for the good of the world. If there is another chance like this, I will still destroy you without hesitation. Hearing Dugu Wutian's words, Dugu Outyan was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. Lin Feng looked at Dugu Outyan indifferently. A just cause enjoys abundant support. An unjust cause finds little support. Dugu Wutian, keep an eye on him. Don't let him die. After the battle, I have something to ask him. Lin Feng threw Dugu Outyan to Dugu Wutian. Then, he ordered the dark green mantis scorpion king to help Han Zihua and the others kill Dugu Sun Tian. After the dark green mantis scorpion king received the order, it led the insect swarm to attack. Lin Feng used his indestructible godly body to heal himself. His injuries were too severe, and he couldn't fight anymore. In the sky, the demon lord and god clashed and gathered power again. Boom! The demon lord and god attacked again. 9 slashes of the demon god. The second slash. The void shattered. Divine punishment. Second slash. 9 heavens divine tribulation. Bang! Once again, the attacks from both sides collided fiercely. A battle between gods was not something that mortals could imagine. Around the demon lord and god, the illusions were collapsing and reforming. They charged at each other, fighting until the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. The 9 slashes of the demon god versus the god's punishment. Both sides fought fiercely. The god's body was pierced through and blood flowed out. The demon lord's origin power was obliterated, and his body became illusory. Both the demon lord and god received varying degrees of damage. Haha, it seems like you won't be able to hold on for much longer without a physical body. Deity sneered, his killing intent soared to the sky. He became more and more confident about this battle. He could feel the demon lord's power weakening. If we were in the ancient immemorial era, I could crush someone like you with one hand. The demon lord's voice was cold. This isn't the immemorial era. Deity's voice was indifferent. He attacked again, wanting to defeat the demon lord as quickly as possible. The demon lord coldly glanced at Lin Feng's Dantian. You're still hibernating. Don't you want your god's origin power anymore? As soon as the demon lord finished speaking, the void around him began to distort. The demonic orb and shimming demonic book flew out, lingering in the black fog. Lin Feng was shocked. It seemed that the demon lord was only temporarily residing in the demonic orb. The demonic orb also seemed to have its own spirit. Otherwise, why would it fly out on its own? The shimming demonic book had always been very strange. Lin Feng was not surprised that it flew out. Boom! Up in the sky, divine light surged. Demonic chi churned, and demonic chi covered the sky. No one could clearly see the battle in the sky. The battle was too intense, so everyone was far away from it. Even Lin Feng couldn't see clearly what had happened during that great battle. My strength is limited, so I can't participate in the battle of gods. But since the demon lord, the demonic orb, and the shimming demonic book have all attacked, I'm guessing that they have a way to kill deity. These guys won't attack for no reason. They want to divide up deity's origin power. I have to find an opportunity to devour deity's origin power. Lin Feng clenched his teeth. The demonic orb and the shimming demonic book. Weren't those 2 treasures destroyed in the immemorial era? Why did they appear? Deity shouted in disbelief. He then looked at Lin Feng. It's that kid. Not only does he have sinner's blood, but he also has an even more terrifying bloodline power. What kind of bloodline power can surpass sinner's blood? Could it be that race? Deity suddenly shouted in disbelief. He thought of that legendary race, breaking through the undying world, overturning the Chaos Tower, slaughtering the 9 layers of heaven, overturning the 18 layers of hell. Only that race had such a terrifying bloodline. Boom! The demon lord didn't say a word. While Deity was still in shock, he rushed forward. At the same time, the shimmering demonic book and the demonic orb flew out. Together, they surrounded Deity. Chains appeared from the demonic orb and wrapped around Deity. On the shimmering demonic book, a dense number of Tao characters appeared. There were hundreds of them. Together, they suppressed Deity. The demon lord turned into a scorching sun and suppressed Deity. Bang! Deity moved to block the combined attacks of the demon lord, the demonic orb, and the shimmering demonic book. Both sides fought fiercely. The shimmering demonic book seized the opportunity and sent 2 Tao characters into Deity's body. Of the 2 Tao characters, one was Deity. The other was Perish. Together, they formed Deity's Perish. These 2 Tao characters dealt a heavy blow to Deity. Deity roared. He wanted to force the 2 Tao characters out of his body, but he couldn't. Bang! The 2 Tao characters exploded, and Deity's body began to crumble. Destroy him! The demon lord and the demonic orb rushed forward. Powerful attacks bombarded Deity. Why is it like this? I am a deity. How can you destroy me? Deity roared angrily. He was unwilling, but he couldn't resist. Under the combined attacks of the demon lord, the demonic orb, and the shimmering demonic book, Deity's body exploded. This deity will remember you. When this deity's true body appears, all of you will die. Deity's voice fell. Even Deity's soul was shattered. Deity's origin scattered in the sky. The demon lord, the demonic orb, and the shimmering demonic book began to devour Deity's origin. Deity's origin, devour it. Lin Feng also rushed forward and began to devour Deity's origin. The demon lord, the shimmering demonic book, and the demonic orb were furious. They wanted to sweep Lin Feng away. You 3 short-sighted fellows. If we share Deity's origin, we can continue to work together in the future. If you want to take Deity's origin for yourself, we will go our separate ways. Lin Feng shouted. Oomph! The demon lord coldly snorted. He ignored Lin Feng and began to devour Deity's origin. The shimmering demonic book and the demonic orb did the same. Lin Feng let out a long breath. Chapter 862. Even a god is dead. Run. Countless people were screaming in fear. The cultivators of Aotion ancient capital were in chaos. The Dugu clan and the 10 great clans were fleeing like crazy. The 2 sides were already at war, and Lin Feng didn't need to give the order. The allied army of the 4 cities wouldn't let the Dugu clan and the 10 great clans off. The battle lasted for a day and a night. A small number of people managed to escape, but most were killed. That was how cruel a war was. Once a war broke out, they had to kill every last one of them. Otherwise, they might get revenge in the future. Some of the cultivators of the allied army went to chase the cultivators of Aotion ancient capital. Some of them went to look for the treasuries of the Dugu clan and the 10 great clans. In the main hall of the Dugu clan, reporting. The items in the treasuries of the various clans have been accounted for. There are 3 Tao artifacts, the Icefire War Spear, the Dragon-Slaying Sword, and the Dragonflame Saber. There are a total of 18,700 peak prized artifacts, and there are a total of, soon, someone came to report the spoils of war. There were hundreds of thousands of magic treasures and spirit stones piled up like mountains. There were also many divine ability secret manuals and so on. Lin Gongzi, we found an ancient bronze book in the Dugu clan. The Sun Moon City elder who was in charge of checking the spoils of war hurriedly came forward to report. He was holding an ancient bronze book in his hand. Lin Feng was shocked. Bronze items were extremely precious. He took the bronze book and saw that there were distorted runes on the bronze book. Runes. Lin Feng was shocked. The bronze book was sealed by the runes. If he wanted to open it, He had to decipher the runes. Obviously, that would take some time. Lin Feng put the book away. The 11 clans of Aotian ancient capital had so many treasures that it took 5 days and 5 nights to sort them out. Next, it was time to distribute the treasures. I'll take the Dao weapons. As for the remaining spirit stones, divine abilities, and treasures, you can discuss how to divide them. Lin Feng said. Everyone nodded. Nobody had any objections. There were only 3 Dao weapons. It was good that Lin Feng took them all. If he distributed them, how would the clans of the 4 cities get 3 Dao weapons? Wouldn't that lead to a fight? Lin Feng also saw this point, which was why he took the 3 Dao artifacts. I told you before that if you follow me, I won't mistreat you. These bottles contain godly origin. Each influential group can take one, said Lin Feng. Lin Feng waved his right hand and 36 porcelain bottles landed on the table. Divine essence? The voices of the upper echelons of the 4 ancient cities began to tremble violently. They knew what the divine source represented. Regardless of whether it was direct refinement or alchemy, the divine source could play a heaven-defying role. After refining the divine source, one's body would be improved by the divine source. At that time, his cultivation would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. To put it bluntly, even a mountain of treasures was far less valuable than a bottle of God's source. After being stunned for a moment, all the upper echelons of the 4 ancient cities shouted in unison. Thank you, Lin Gongzi, for your generosity. In the future, we are willing to serve you like dogs and horses. Even if we have to climb a mountain of blades or dive into a sea of flames, we won't even frown. The upper echelons of the large clans expressed their loyalty. This time, they had followed Lin Feng to attack Aotian Ancient City, and they had witnessed how he had killed a god. Aotian Ancient City would be divided among the 4 ancient cities in the future. Apart from that, all the treasures of the 11 clans, including the Dugu clan, would also be given to the clans of the 4 ancient cities. The clans of the 4 ancient cities would also receive godly origin as a reward. Lin Feng had an immemorial godly weapon and could slaughter gods. Lin Feng was like a god to the clans of the 4 ancient cities. They naturally had to take advantage of this opportunity to follow Lin Feng. Lin Feng said meaningfully, "Take good care of the godly land of the East. I hope you won't disappoint me." Everybody was astonished. Lin Feng's words seemed to have a deeper meaning. It seemed that Lin Gongzi wanted to create his own group. Thinking of this, the upper echelons of the large clans became excited. In their opinion, if Lin Feng wanted to create his own group, it would definitely be a huge force that could compete with the immemorial godly forces in the future. Moreover, they would be the first group of clans to submit to Lin Feng. They were the elders. We will definitely live up to your expectations. Many of the upper echelons of the large clans hurriedly said. Lin Feng nodded with satisfaction. These people were all smart people. Some things didn't need to be said too clearly. The next day, Lin Feng returned to the Jinwu country, accompanied by the ancestor of the Jinwu country, Long Fu. Dugu Outyin was also brought to the Jinwu country and was temporarily imprisoned in the Jinwu country's prison. Lin Feng reunited with Xiao Yefei, Su Zimo, and the others in the imperial capital. He began to arrange for Xiao Yefei, Su Zimo, Ouyang Li, Zhang Shirley, and other good friends to join the 4 ancient cities to cultivate. At the same time, Lin Feng handed the dragon-slaying sword to Shangwan Fair so that she could use it to protect herself. On the 3rd day after returning to the imperial capital, Lin Feng went to interrogate Dugu Outyin. However, Dugu Outyin was very tight-lipped, and it was difficult to get any useful information from him. Lin Feng used the soul-searching technique and forcefully searched Dugu Outyin's soul. There were memories of God in Dugu Outyin's soul. God came from a mysterious world. However, he did not know where it came from. Little b** starred, God will descend again. When that time comes, the God that descends will be even more powerful. At that time, you will die without a burial ground. Dugu Outyin cursed. Drag him out and execute him. Lin Feng waved his hand.
Yes.
Immediately, a guard dragged Dugu Outyin out and used a boning knife to cut off the flesh on Dugu Outyin's body. This was death by dismemberment. It was the cruelest punishment. After staying in the Eastern Divine Land for half a month, Lin Feng left and returned to the Blue Cloud sect. However, it was obvious that the destruction of the Outyan ancient capital in the eastern Divine Land had caused a huge uproar in the 72 northern states. However, Lin Feng had already left the center of the storm. After returning to the Blue Cloud sect, everyone on the Supreme Peak received a bottle of God's Source. This made everyone wild with joy. Everyone went into seclusion to refine the God's Source and cultivate. At night, Lin Feng sat cross-legged. The God's Source in his dantian was as vast as the sea. Lin Feng's cultivation had already gone from the early stage of the 8th heaven of the yin-yang realm to the advanced stage. He had only consumed a small portion of the God's Source. Lin Feng felt that the God's Source in his dantian was enough for him to cultivate to the peak of the creation realm. Half a month later, everyone who had been in closed-door cultivation came out one after another. Although each of them had only refined a very small portion of the divine source, each of their cultivations had been greatly improved. Shi Weizhu and Bai Ying had both broken through to the 5th heaven of the yin-yang realm. Wang Hu, Mo Yuning, Ma Yong, Lu Gu, and Wu Xiu'er had directly broken through to the yin-yang realm. There were a total of 8 people on Lin Feng's supreme peak. Now, all of them had broken through to the yin-yang realm. If news of this spread out, it would cause a huge uproar in the Blue Cloud sect. This kind of thing was too shocking. Wang Hu and the others did not say anything. They cultivated silently and stabilized their cultivation. Everything on the Supreme Peak was proceeding in an orderly manner. Lin Feng planned to strengthen the Supreme Peak's defensive array. He placed the Ice-Fire Battle Spear in the center of the array. With this Tao artifact as the foundation, he strengthened the array. The power of the Supreme Peak's array greatly increased. With the Tao artifact guarding the Supreme Peak, even a Creation Realm cultivator would not be able to break through the array easily. Half a month later, Lin Feng's dragon egg hatched. Lin Feng gave the baby dragon to Wang Hu and told him to take good care of it. In the future, when the baby dragon grew up, it would become the Supreme Peak's guardian spirit beast. Another half a month later, Lin Feng's cultivation had increased to the peak of the 8th heaven of the yin-yang realm. Lin Feng also began to prepare to break through to the 9th heaven of the yin-yang realm. Now that he had refined the God's Source, his cultivation speed had increased by more than 10 times. Lin Feng estimated that he would have no problem entering the creation realm within a year. "Senior Marshal Brother, someone outside wants to see you," Wang Hu reported outside Lin Feng's hall. "Oh? Who is it?" Lin Feng was surprised. "They say it's someone from Angry Axe City," Wang Hu said. "Angry Axe City?" Lin Feng frowned. Angry Axe City was an ancient city that was as famous as the Northern Desolate City. It was one of the 10 great ancient cities of the Desolate region. However, he had never been to Angry Axe City, so it was impossible for him to know the cultivators there. Lin Feng was very confused that someone from Angry Axe City had come to see him. He did not know who it was. Chapter 863. Outside the main hall, Wang Hu said, "Senior brother, the guest has arrived." Lin Feng's voice came from inside the hall. "All right, you may leave." "Yes." Wang Hu nodded and left. "Please come into the main hall," said Lin Feng. Lin Feng said. The middle-aged cultivator nodded and entered the hall. He saw a young man sitting in the middle of the hall. The middle-aged cultivator felt that the young man was very handsome and dignified. His every movement exuded a noble aura. He thought to himself, "No wonder young master told me to be careful when I speak to this young master Lin. My Qian sect is quite knowledgeable and has seen many young geniuses, but it is rare to see such a young master who is born to be an emperor. How should I address you?" Lin Feng opened his eyes and looked at the middle-aged cultivator. Qianzong didn't dare to be negligent. He cupped his fists and said, "Does the young master remember an old friend from Fire Dragon Town?" "Fire Dragon Town?" Lin Feng was slightly surprised. His thoughts went back to 6 years ago. That year, he had met the immeasurable Taoist for the first time in Fire Dragon Town and bought the heaven-swallowing jar from him. That year, he had met the successor of an ancient sacred land for the first time in Fire Dragon Town. That year, in Fire Dragon Town, Lin Feng was shocked. Could he be Brother Qian Ruiyuan's clansman? That year, Qian Rui Yuan had appeared in Fire Dragon Town and asked an alchemist to help him break the black ironwood. No one had succeeded. That was until Lin Feng finally made a move and used heavenly fire to break the black ironwood and help Qian Rui Yuan retrieve the core. Many years passed in a flash. It seems like Lin Gongzi hasn't forgotten that a batch of stones has appeared in Angry Axe City. My young master is gambling in Angry Axe City. He thought of an old friend and sent me to invite Lin Gongzi to Angry Axe City to meet him. Qianzong said. Qian Rui Yuan was a descendant of the ancient sacred emperor and had a huge influence. Lin Feng didn't find it strange that he had heard about him. This Qian Rui Yuan was the true disciple of the most elite aristocratic family in the Sky Martial Continent. He was a descendant of the ancient sacred emperor. In terms of bloodline, Zhang Yudi's status was lower than Qian Rui Yuan's. They were both ancient powers. Naturally, he was the direct descendant of the ancient Saint Emperor, and his status was the most respected. Lin Feng's impression of Qian Rui Yuan was quite good. Although Qian Rui Yuan was a descendant of the ancient Saint Emperor, he didn't have that kind of high and mighty attitude. It's been so many years since we last met. I didn't expect Brother Qian to come to the desolate region. Lin Feng stood up. Lin Gongzi, come with me. The two of them left the main hall and rode the white crane away. Half a month later, Lin Feng arrived at the Angry Axe City and saw Qian Rui Yuan. Brother Lin, it has been many years since we last met. How have you been? Qian Rui Yuan smiled. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said, Everything's been well. How have you been, brother? Qian Rui Yuan smiled and said, Thank you for your concern, Brother Lin. I'm also well. I originally wanted to go to the Blue Cloud sect to visit you, but now that a batch of precious stones has appeared, I couldn't leave. I thought that if Brother Lin missed this opportunity, you would definitely regret it. So I asked the Qian sect to invite Brother Lin to gamble on stones. Lin Feng had obviously heard of gambling on stones. Many cities had stone shops, and many people liked to go there to gamble. Some of the stones might contain precious treasures. For example, 10,000-year-old jadeite, imperial green jade, blood agate. These were the most precious types of jadeite. A 10,000-year-old jadeite could be sold for hundreds of thousands of top-grade spirit stones. If it was imperial green jade, it could be sold for millions of top-grade spirit stones. A single piece of imperial green jade could support an ancient sect for many years. However, how could it be so easy to find imperial green jade? It might take a few decades or even a few centuries for someone to find it. There were many cultivators who were keen on gambling on stones, but Lin Feng had never been to a stone shop before. He had no interest in gambling on stones. Lin Feng said, I didn't expect Brother Qian to be so interested in gambling on stones. Qian Rui Yuan seemed to be able to see that Lin Feng was not interested in gambling on stones. He said, Brother Lin, the stones excavated from Angry Axe City this time are not ordinary stones. Oh? What's so special about them? Lin Feng asked. A group of miners from Angry Axe City risked their lives to collect these stones in the Godluo Cliff. Qian Rui Yuan said. Lin Feng was shocked. The Godluo Cliff was a land of death. Currently, there was not a single blade of grass within 100 miles of the cliff. Ghosts and ghosts roamed the area, and very few people dared to go there. However, the miners were so bold that they dared to enter the Godluo Cliff to collect stones. The stones are located in the 6th mountain range of the Godluo Cliff. It is said that the monarch of the Godluo Cliff and the ruler of the Godluo Cliff seem to have some changes, so the miners risked their lives to enter the mountain range and brought out many precious stones. Qian Rui Yuan said, Ordinary stones can only be used to dig out some precious jade. This is already the limit, but the stones in the land of death can often be used to dig out some extremely rare things, such as divine bones, divine weapons, divine stones, and so on. The land of death was different from other places, and it hid a huge secret. Even gods would fall if they entered it. It was rumored that the land of death itself was a cemetery where gods and devils were buried. Therefore, the stones in the land of death were indeed different. Just as Qian Rui Yuan had said, the stones in the land of death could be used to cut out extremely precious things. Lin Feng couldn't help but be interested and said, after hearing Brother Qian's words, I also want to try my luck. and see if I can cut out a few divine bones that contain ancient divine abilities. Haha, if Brother Lin's luck is good, you really might be able to cut out such things. However, the stone workshop will only open in the afternoon, so let's go eat something first, Qian Ruiyuan said. In the afternoon, the two of them went to the stone workshop together. People came and went in the stone workshop, and it was very lively. On both sides of the street, there were many stalls with all kinds of stones. Many people were sitting on the ground and bargaining with the stall owners. It was Lin Feng's first time coming to a place like the stone workshop, so he was a little curious. Of course, he was also very shocked. The liveliness of the stone workshop was beyond Lin Feng's imagination. The stones in the stalls on both sides of the street are of the lowest grade. The stones in the shops on both sides are of a much higher grade. Look at the huge courtyards in the depths. The stones there are precious, Qian Ruiyuan said. Lin Feng nodded. In the stone workshop, the bigger the shop, the bigger the business. The bigger the business, the more precious the stones inside were. Someone cut out a divine weapon, and it's overflowing with murderous intent. I'm afraid it's an immemorial divine weapon. At that moment, a cry of surprise came from the depths of the stone workshop. An immemorial divine weapon had been cut out of the stone. This news immediately caused a huge uproar, and countless people rushed towards the huge courtyard in the depths of the stone workshop. Lin Feng was shocked. Even an immemorial divine weapon has been cut out. This is heaven-defying. Let's go and take a look, Qian Ruiyuan said. He and Lin Feng walked towards the courtyard in the depths of the stone workshop. As soon as they entered the courtyard, they felt a terrifying murderous intent enveloping the courtyard. Many cultivators who entered the courtyard were shocked by the murderous intent and vomited blood. Some of the weaker cultivators' bodies were directly torn apart, and they died on the spot. Chapter 864. In the depths of the courtyard, a cultivator cut open a piece of stone. The stone was 3 meters tall and 1 meter wide, and only a corner had been cut open. The sharp tip of a spear had already been revealed. It was obviously a magical weapon similar to a spear. Leave if you don't have enough cultivation. Otherwise, you'll just die here, said a cultivator coldly. An expert said coldly, warning the cultivators in the courtyard. Many people turned pale and left the courtyard. Only a corner had been cut open, and the murderous chi it emitted had already killed more than 10 cultivators. It was hard to imagine what kind of weapon it would be if the stone was completely cut open. The cultivators who weren't confident in their cultivation level naturally didn't dare to stay in the courtyard. The person who had bought the stone was a middle-aged cultivator, and he was extremely excited. It was very likely that there was a peerless divine weapon inside the stone. Fellow Taoist, can you transfer the stone to me? An extremely old cultivator appeared. Zhang Zichuan. It's actually him. He's a great elder of the archaic Zhang family. Even he was alarmed. Someone recognized the old man's identity. His background was frightening. The archaic Zhang family was a family that had ascended to godhood at the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Zhang Zichuan's status in the archaic Zhang family was very high, and his arrival had caused quite a stir. I'm lacking a powerful weapon, so I can't give it to you, said the middle-aged cultivator. No matter what kind of weapon it is, the archaic Zhang family can give it to you. Moreover, we'll give you an endless amount of spirit stones, heavenly treasures, and other cultivation resources in exchange for this stone, said Zhang Zichuan. Thank you for your kindness, senior, but I prefer the divine weapon inside the stone. The middle-aged cultivator's attitude was very firm, and he didn't want to transfer the stone, because he felt that the stone had a peerless divine weapon sealed inside. If that was really the case, then no matter how many treasures there were, they would be far less valuable than a peerless divine weapon. Zhang Zichuan frowned slightly, but he didn't say anything. The middle-aged cultivator held a stone-cutting knife and carefully cut open the stone. Swish, 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 swish. As the stone was continuously cut open, the murderous chi emitted by the mysterious weapon became more and more powerful. Many people couldn't bear it, and their faces turned pale. They had no choice but to leave the courtyard and watch from outside. Is there really a divine weapon inside the stone? Lin Feng said in surprise. Qin Rueyuan said, I keep feeling that there's something wrong with that weapon, but I can't tell exactly what it is. Let's keep watching. Lin Feng nodded and stared at the stone that was being cut open. More and more parts of the weapon were exposed. The stones mined in the land of death are all bought by the top powers. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. Qin Rueyuan said, Brother Lin, do you have any stones that you like? Why don't you try your luck? Lin Feng said, This is my first time in a stone workshop, so I don't have much experience. Brother Qian, please help yourself. I'll look around. Okay. Qian Rueyuan nodded and strolled around the courtyard, observing the stones that were placed all over the courtyard. There were many customers in the stone workshop of the Great Zhou Empire. Many people were gathered in front of some stones, pointing and discussing. From time to time, customers would buy the stones. Lin Feng went to a corner of the courtyard where a green stone was placed. Many parts of the stone had already peeled off, and the stone's luster was dim. No one was interested in it. Lin Feng tried to use his divine sense to peek inside the stone, hoping to find some clues. He found that the stone was very strange and could block a cultivator's divine sense. How much is this stone? Lin Feng called over a green-robed attendant and asked. The attendant said, 100 supreme-grade spirit stones. This stone that no one is interested in costs 100 supreme-grade spirit stones? Lin Feng was surprised. This stone was too expensive. The attendant said, Young master, the stones in the stone workshop of the Great Zhou Empire are all high-grade stones. Naturally, they can't be compared to those ordinary stones outside. This stone is already the lowest price. Young master, look over there. Some stones cost tens of thousands of supreme-grade spirit stones. Of course, the more expensive the stone, the easier it is to cut out something good. Okay, I'll take this stone. Lin Feng nodded and took out 100 supreme-grade spirit stones and gave them to the attendant. The attendant gave Lin Feng a stone-cutting knife. Lin Feng looked at it for a moment and began to cut the stone. Not many people paid attention to Lin Feng because this stone was too ordinary. Whether it was the shape or the luster, it was the lowest grade stone in the courtyard. Swish, 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 pieces of the stone were cut off one by one. The stone, which was half a meter in diameter, was quickly cut to the size of a fist, but still, nothing was cut out. Even the few cultivators who were paying attention to Lin Feng's actions looked away. Lin Feng shook his head. Even though he knew that stone gambling relied on luck, he had spent 100 supreme-grade spirit stones to buy this stone. Of course, he was disappointed that he couldn't cut out anything. He raised the knife in his hand and cut down. In the end, he cut the fist-sized stone into two. Boom! Immediately after, a terrifying aura spread out from the cracked stone. It was as if a wild beast had come back to life. Heavens! Did someone cut out a peerless treasure? Look over there. There's a demonic fog. That boy cut out something good. Many cultivators cried out in surprise and quickly surrounded Lin Feng. An endless amount of demonic fog surged out, and a pitch-black eye floated in the fog. He cut out an eyeball. Many people were shocked and looked at the eyeball. What's that? Lin Feng was surprised. What a pleasant surprise. He had cut out an eyeball at the last moment, but he didn't know what kind of eyeball it was. Swish. Suddenly, the eyeball blinked. In an instant, the sky was filled with dark clouds, lightning, and a storm. Heavens, what kind of eyeball is that? It just blinked, and it created such a terrifying phenomenon? Many people shouted in disbelief. Then, everyone looked at the mysterious eyeball floating in the black fog with fervent gazes. Chapter 865. Such a huge commotion startled everyone in all directions. People continuously rushed over, including many aged elders. Now that the Death Danger Stone had appeared in the world, it had attracted a lot of powerhouses, including some of the old men who were sitting at the life and death threshold. They did not hesitate to cross hundreds of millions of miles to come to the Angry Axe City. Heavenly Demon Snake Eye. Jiang Zichuan, a grand elder of the Jiang family, exclaimed when he saw the stone eye floating in the black mist. What? That's the Heavenly Demon Snake Eye? Is this real? The third eye of the Heavenly Demon Snake? Many people exclaimed. The heavenly demon snake was a rare species in the primordial era. Even in the primordial era, there were very few of them. Whenever a heavenly demon snake appeared, it would cause chaos. It was said that the third eye of the heavenly demon snake was extremely terrifying. Once it opened, it could destroy the world. However, too much time had passed, and the abilities of the celestial eye demonic snake stone eye were no longer known to anyone. However, that didn't stop everyone from being interested in the celestial eye demonic snake stone eye. The appearance of the stone eye had caused such a huge commotion. It was too heaven-defying. Perhaps there was a great secret hidden within. The eye of the heavenly demon snake eye? Lin Feng was moved when he heard Jiang Zichuan's voice. In the primordial era, the heavenly demon snake clan had produced a saint emperor. Lin Feng had obtained the heavenly demon snake eye in the 9 emperors chart. It was obvious how powerful this clan had been in the past, and now he had obtained the eye of the heavenly demon snake eye. It was said that not all heavenly demon snakes had the heavenly demon snake eye. Only the royal family of the heavenly demon snake clan had it. Others might not know the power of the heavenly demon snake eye, but Lin Feng knew it very well. According to the 9 emperors chart, the heavenly demon snake eye could see through the worlds of yin and yang. Those words contained too much information. The underworld referred to the underworld. The world of yang referred to the billions of worlds inhabited by living beings. The heavenly demon snake eye could see through the worlds of yin and yang. Lin Feng didn't really understand what it was, but it was clearly a heaven-defying ability. The second ability was the ability to see through reality. Lin Feng could understand this ability. The heavenly demon snake eye was known as the heavenly eye of origin in the primordial age. It meant that he could see through all illusions. It pointed straight to the origin. This was also a heaven-defying ability. On the path of cultivation, there were too many illusory things that confused cultivators. Going out to train, being trapped in a boundless land of illusions, and not being able to walk out was an illusion. During cultivation, inner demons would appear to haunt one's body, causing one to be unable to extricate oneself from the inner demons, leading to chi deviation. This was also an illusion. If he had the celestial eyes snake, he would be able to see through these illusions instantly. This was the power of the celestial eyes. Of course, the use of the heavenly demon snake's eye was far more than that. It needed to be slowly explored and excavated. Keep. Lin Feng quickly took action and put away the heavenly demon snake eye. Little friend, can you give me the celestial beast's eye? No matter what you want, I'll agree, said Lin Feng. Jiang Zichuan said excitedly. Such a heavenly demon snake eye was indeed enough to make anyone go crazy. Little friend, I'm willing to give you weapons, immemorial theurgies, spirit stones, etc. Another old man squeezed through the crowd and came in, ancestor by May of the Immortal Temple. Many people were astonished. This old man's social status was also shocking. The Immortal Temple was the leader of the 72 provinces in the north. It was also the most powerful group in the north. It was rumored that the Immortal Temple had an ancient great imperial weapon forged by Chen Changsheng. If that was the case, the Longevity Hall was simply too terrifying. An immemorial power with an ancient imperial weapon guarding, it was definitely one of the strongest immemorial powers in the world. Little friend, if you give the heavenly demon snake eye to me, I can make the decision and betroth the princess to you. Another old man appeared. Many people were shocked. This old man's identity was also not simple. He was actually a supreme elder of the Great Xia Empire. He was of the same generation as the emperor of the Great Xia Empire's grandfather. He was highly respected. The emperor's son-in-law of the Great Xia Empire? What a tempting offer. Many people whispered. They wanted to snatch the heavenly demon snake eye from Lin Feng and give it to the Great Xia ancestor. More than a dozen old men appeared. Each of them had a frightening background. They were all patriarchs of the most powerful forces. Because of the stone's mind in the land of death, there were often incredible treasures hidden in them. Therefore, these great ancestors, who usually didn't show up in the mortal world, came out one after another. Thank you for your kindness, seniors, but I'd like to study the heavenly demon snake eye myself, said Lin Feng. Little friend, the heavenly demon snake eye has existed for billions of years. Even though it's still immortal, it's already changed a lot. You might not be able to study it. Why don't you sell it? Why don't you sell it? Said an ancestor. Lin Feng had already made up his mind. He didn't want to sell it. Little boy, you're so weak. Do you think you'll be able to keep that treasure alive? Someone was threatening Lin Feng using telepathy. His voice was filled with murder. This wasn't strange. Chapter 866. What a terrifying heavenly demon, Snake Eye. Lin Feng lay on the bed, unable to move. The snake eye was still floating in the air, looking at him. After an hour, Lin Feng sat up again. His face was deathly pale. A moment before, when the celestial beast had blinked, Lin Feng's soul had almost been crushed, and he had almost fallen into the depths of hell. If Lin Feng's soul hadn't been strong enough, he would have died. Lin Feng didn't use his eyes to look at the snake's eye because it was too strange. Was it the snake's primordial spirit? The primordial spirit had fused with the snake eye, so even after so many years, the snake eye was still so strange and terrifying. Thinking about that, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Presently, only 2 of the primeval Saint Emperor clones he'd refined had been awakened, and they were respectively the primeval golden-winged Rock King clone and the primeval Chonchi clone. Lin Feng started communicating with the ancient celestial beast's snake eye clone. Lin Feng called out the celestial eyes snake clone. In the room, there was a mist. The heavenly eyes demonic snake's body coiled in the mist, emitting a cold aura. The celestial eye demonic snake was a creature with an icy aura. The sky eye demon snake seemed to have sensed something and turned to look at the sky eye demon snake. Swoosh, swoosh. At the same time, the sky eye demonic snake opened its eyes and stared at the sky eye demonic snake. However, the heaven-eyed demonic snake was unable to open its third eye. The third eye was the heaven-eyed demonic snake eye that only the royal family of the heaven-eyed demonic snake could produce. It can sense something. Let's see if I can refine the snake eye. Lin Feng raised his right hand and released a terrifying amount of strength which penetrated into the eyes of the celestial beast. The celestial beast's eyes shook violently and Lin Feng's strength dispersed. Lin Feng couldn't refine the snake eye. It refuses to be refined? The snake eye is too strange. Lin Feng frowned, then laughed coldly. He mobilized the god's origin power in his dantian and merged it with his dermic powers. Once again, it surged into the heavenly demon snake's eye. The snake wanted to disperse Lin Feng's strength again, but at that moment, Lin Feng's godly original strength started burning. Then, the power of God's origin collided with the power of the sky demon snake's eyes. When the 2 forces collided, Lin Feng's strength was unceasingly penetrating into the eyes of the celestial level beast. Merge. Lin Feng clapped his right hand, and the celestial beast's eyes flew towards the celestial eye snake. Swoosh. The snake eye merged with the snake's third eye. His third eye, which had been tightly shut, opened at this moment. An ancient, primordial aura emanated from the heaven-eyed demonic snake. The celestial eye demonic snake strength was recovering. The third Holy Emperor's clone has awakened. Lin Feng looked surprised. The third eye of the sky eye demonic snake blinked slightly, and the furniture in the room was silently destroyed. It was a terrifying eye. In the end, the snake turned into a talisman and merged with Lin Feng's forehead. Lin Feng's mind moved and an eye appeared between his eyebrows. Swoosh. Suddenly, a third eye appeared in Lin Feng's third eye. It was the celestial beast snake eye. After the snake's talisman merged with Lin Feng's forehead, Lin Feng could use all the snake's abilities. The third eye blinked slightly, causing the void to distort. It was truly powerful. This pair of eyes definitely possessed an unimaginably powerful offensive power. Lin Feng's third eye disappeared. What a mysterious snake. It turned into a talisman and merged with my forehead. Lin Feng touched his third eye. The talisman had fused with his flesh and blood, so he couldn't see it, but he could use his awareness to communicate with it. The next day, Lin Feng and Qian Ruiyuan went to the workshop again. Qian Ruiyuan said, "Let's go to the Jiang clan's workshop. I heard that someone found something good here yesterday." Lin Feng nodded. He and Qian Ruiyuan went to the workshop. There were 5 courtyards, and the deeper they went, the more valuable things they found. Qin Ruiyuan had been there for a long time. He had spent a lot of money to cut a few dozen stones, but he hadn't found anything particularly valuable. Gambling on stones depended on luck. It wasn't easy to find something good. I've been very unlucky lately. I haven't been able to find anything good. I hope my luck will change today. Qian Ruiyuan smiled. Lin Feng smiled. Maybe we'll be lucky. Quick, the Jiang clan brought out the stones they dug out from the land of death. The news quickly spread and attracted a lot of people. Lin Feng and Qian Ruiyuan also squeezed through the crowd. The immemorial Jiang family brought out 3 pieces of stone. The first stone was a huge purple stone that was more than 10 meters tall. It was surrounded by purple light and looked extraordinary. The second stone was about 5 meters tall. It was protruding on both sides like a pair of wings. Golden chi escaped from it from time to time. The third stone was in the shape of a human. Life chi flowed out of it. It was unknown what terrifying thing was sealed in it. Many powerful people were attracted. Some wanted to buy the stones, but they hesitated when they saw the price. Lin Feng looked at the prices of the 3 stones. The cheapest one was the purple stone that was more than 10 meters tall. It was worth 320,000 top-quality spirit stones. The stone with wings on its back was worth 490,000 top-grade spirit stones. The third human-shaped stone was worth 720,000 top-quality spirit stones. Lin Feng clicked his tongue. It was too expensive. A few 100,000 top-quality spirit stones was enough for an ancient power to operate for more than 10 years. However, they could only purchase 1 piece of stone here. Therefore, even the patriarchs of the top forces were hesitant at this moment. This was because if they spent a lot of money to buy the stones, they might not be able to extract anything. Many people were talking about this stone. A black light flashed in Lin Feng's eyes. This was the power of the heavenly demon snake's eyes. Lin Feng had merged it into his eyes. He looked at the 3 stones that had been mined from the land of death. These stones could block the probing of cultivators' divine sense. However, Lin Feng could use the power of the heavenly demon snake's eyes to observe some strange things. There's really something. Lin Feng was shocked. There was something in all 3 stones, but he couldn't see it clearly. I want to cut open the stone with the wings. Qian Ruiyuan was moved. He wanted to cut another piece of stone from the land of death. Zhang Qi, the elder in charge of the courtyard, smiled and said, "Young Master Qian Ruiyuan, are you sure you want to cut open this stone?" Qian Ruiyuan frowned. This stone was worth 490,000 top-quality spirit stones. He had already spent more than 1,000,000 top-quality spirit stones, but he hadn't gained anything. If he didn't gain anything this time, he would have to go home. Even though he was a direct descendant of the Qian family, he couldn't squander money without limit. Many people were talking about Qian Ruiyuan. They had seen Qian Ruiyuan cut open a stone before, but he hadn't gained anything. It seemed that Qian Ruiyuan wasn't satisfied. He wanted to cut open another stone. Lin Feng looked at the stone with wings. There was indeed something inside, but Lin Feng had the impression that it wasn't very precious. It didn't release any qi. It wasn't as precious as the other 2 stones, because the other 2 stones released some weak qi. The stronger the fluctuation, the more precious the stone was. Lin Feng didn't think highly of the stone that Qian Ruiyuan was interested in. Suddenly, Lin Feng's gaze was attracted by a stone block under the winged stone. It was about 1.5 meters in diameter and half a meter tall. It was cushioned on the ground, and the winged stone was placed on top of it. Lin Feng looked through the stone block. He could faintly see something moving inside. Qian Ruiyuan gritted his teeth. He planned to cut open the winged stone. Perhaps he could find something good. Chapter 867. Qian Ruiyuan looked at Lin Feng and asked curiously, "Brother Lin, is there something wrong?" Lin Feng smiled and said, "I think that block of stone is not bad. Let's cut it open first." Many people laughed. That block of stone had been there for many years. It was just a block of stone. If there was really a treasure inside, how could so many stone gambling experts not discover it? "Kid, that's not a stone." Someone tried to change the topic. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Isn't it a stone? I thought it was a stone as well, but this block of stone is peeling off. It's been there for a long time. Maybe there's something good inside. Many people's mouths twitched violently. Someone said, the more precious a stone is, the harder it is for the outer layer to fall off. A good stone's outer layer won't fall off even after hundreds of millions of years. That block of stone you're talking about is peeling off because of the wind and sun, not because it's been there for a long time. Lin Feng said, is there such a thing? No wonder these 3 stones are shining with divine light. It seems like they're all high-grade stones. That's why they've been preserved so well over the years. A cultivator nodded and said, of course. There's a huge difference between a good stone and an ordinary one. Thank you for telling me. Lin Feng cupped his fists and looked at Qian Ruiyuan. Cut it. It's not worth much anyway. Qian Ruiyuan nodded, even though he didn't think there was anything good inside. However, Qian Ruiyuan didn't want to reject Lin Feng. He was the one who had invited Lin Feng to gamble, so he naturally wouldn't disappoint Lin Feng. He looked at Jiang Qi and said, I want this block of stone. Jiang Qi smiled and said, what about the stone with the wings? Leave it there for now. Jiang Qi nodded. He couldn't help but glare at Lin Feng. If it weren't for this kid, Qian Ruiyuan would have already bought the stone. Lin Feng acted as if he did not notice Jiang Qi's gaze. He asked, how many spirit stones does this stool cost? This stone stool was brought here 700 years ago. It contains the essence of heaven and earth. It must be a treasure. I'll take 1,000 top-quality spirit stones. Jiang Qi said. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. Just a moment ago, he had clearly heard the surrounding cultivators say that this was not a stone material and was not valuable at all. This Jiang Qi was clearly asking for too much. But Lin Feng didn't say much, because if it was really something good, 1,000 top-level spirit stones was nothing. Even a mountain of top-grade spirit stones could not compare to the treasures in the stone materials. Qian Ruiyuan took out 1,000 top-level spirit stones and handed them to Jiang Qi. Then he squatted in front of the stone block and began to cut the stone. Swish, 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 pieces of stone were cut off one by one. The stone block was quickly shrinking. But Qian Ruiyuan didn't cut anything. Haha, I already said that it's just an ordinary stone. You can't cut anything out of it. 1,000 top-quality spirit stones for a broken stone stool. What a scam. Where did Qian Ruiyuan's friend come from? His taste is so bad. Qian Ruiyuan actually believed his friend's nonsense. You need to see, touch, feel, and comprehend to determine whether a stone is valuable or not. The stone stool skin is falling off, and there are no energy fluctuations. You only need to see and feel to eliminate it. That boy is a newbie. He probably doesn't understand the rules of this trade. Many people shook their heads. Lin Feng and Qian Ruiyuan had made a fool of themselves. After all, they had bought a stone stool that had been there for hundreds of years, and they had paid 1,000 top-level spiritual stones for it. How ridiculous! Very quickly, the stone was only as big as a bowl. Qian Ruiyuan was not disappointed because he had never thought that there would be anything good in it. Qian Ruiyuan cut the stone one last time, but as soon as he cut a hole, a refreshing fragrance spread out from the stone. Heavens! Could there be a stalk of divine herb inside? Many people were astonished. A holy medicine was worth at least a few 100,000 top-quality spirit stones, and even if you had money, you might not be able to buy it. This made countless people's eyes widen, and they even felt envy and jealousy. It was just a stone stool used as a cushion. It had been left here for hundreds of years, and no one cared about it. Now, a holy medicine was about to be cut out. How many people had seen that stone stool before? But they all shook their heads, thinking that it was worthless. Now that a holy medicine was about to be cut out, many people regretted it. Why hadn't they carefully identified the stone stool? If they had carefully identified it, they might have bought it. Qian Ruiyuan's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it. He suppressed his excitement and cut the stone. The stone stool cracked. Swoosh! Suddenly, a golden light shot up into the sky. It was extremely fast, trying to escape. Everyone was astonished. Nobody had thought that the thing inside the stone would try to escape. Wasn't it a holy medicine? It didn't look like a holy medicine at all. Lin Feng had been prepared. When the little golden creature tried to escape, he immediately used his magic to imprison it. At that moment, People saw that it was a palm-sized golden insect. Its body was emitting a medicinal fragrance. It's a king medicine insect. It's a legendary king medicine insect. Countless shocked voices were heard, and countless burning gazes were fixed on the little golden bug. A king medicine insect was a legendary spiritual insect. It was said that a king medicine insect needed to eat 99 king medicines to evolve. A single drop of the king medicine insect's blood could heal a dying person. A single drop of the king medicine insect's blood could extend a person's life by 3,000 years. No holy medicine was worth mentioning in front of a king medicine insect. If someone could buy a holy medicine with a few 100,000 top-quality spirit stones, then the king medicine insect would be a priceless treasure. After consuming a holy medicine, it would disappear. But the king medicine insect was a living creature. Even if some of its blood was extracted, it could still continue living. Brother Qian, take care of your king medicine insect. Lin Feng sealed the king medicine insect in a porcelain bottle and gave it to Qian Rui Yuan. That's too precious, said Qian Rui Yuan. Lin Feng was the one who had asked him to cut the stone, so he felt ashamed. Said Lin Feng, smiling. You and I are friends. Could it be that a king herb worm is more valuable than us? Qian Ruiyuan laughed and said, Good brother, I was being unreasonable. When Lin Feng saw that Qian Rui Yuan had accepted the king medicine insect, he smiled. Even though the king of herbs worm was precious, Lin Feng didn't need it because Lin Feng had immortal celestial herbs. He had used a king medicine insect to get closer to Qian Rui Yuan, a descendant of the ancient holy emperor. In Lin Feng's opinion, it was worth it. Qian Rui Yuan kept the herb king beetle, and many people looked at Qian Rui Yuan with envy. The medicine king worm was cut out of the stone stool bought with 1,000 top-grade spirit stones. This was simply a stroke of great luck. Jiang Qi's mouth twitched. He wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He had been there for 300 years, but he hadn't thought that there would be a king medicine insect hidden in the stone. If he had known, he would have cut it open. I want that stone. That stone block belongs to me, said the old man. Shouted many people. They all started fighting over the stone. The crowd didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Chapter 868. It was a black stone more than a meter tall. Lin Feng wasn't the only one who was looking at it. Other cultivators were also looking at it. A middle-aged cultivator was standing in front of the black stone. He first looked at it, then he released a pure energy from his right hand and gently tapped the stone. Finally, he withdrew his hand and stood in place, lost in thought. The middle-aged cultivator was obviously very knowledgeable. He had covered the 5 steps of identifying stones in just a few moves. Look, shake, touch, feel, and comprehend. That's the vice leader of the Xin City sect, Dong Yuqing, right? I heard that he's an expert in identifying stones. Other people can cut 4 or 5 good things out of 100 stones, but Dong Yuqing can cut 15 or 16 good things out of 100 stones. That's right. It's because Dong Yuqing has a profound understanding of stone identification. Dong Yuqing is currently observing that black stone. Could it be that he has taken a fancy to it? Many people were talking about it. In the end, Dong Yuqing shook his head and walked away. It seemed that he didn't think highly of the black stone. Everyone saw that Dong Yuqing didn't think highly of the black stone, so they left and stopped paying attention to it. In their opinion, if an expert like Dong Yuqing didn't think highly of the stone, it couldn't be anything good. After everyone left, Lin Feng carefully looked at the black stone. Although it looked ordinary, Lin Feng felt that it was extraordinary. Lin Feng activated the power of the snake eye and looked at the black stone again. He saw through it and saw a blood-red thing inside. Suddenly, a cold and terrifying chi escaped from the blood-red light. That chi made Lin Feng feel as if he had fallen into an endless purgatory. It was too terrifying. He didn't know what was inside the black stone. Lin Feng quickly looked away. His face was slightly pale. What is it? He murmured to himself. There was definitely something terrifying inside the black stone. Lin Feng felt that it wasn't just terrifying. It was also extremely evil. He couldn't touch it. Once he did, something terrible would happen. Lin Feng distanced himself from that piece of stone. The Jiang family's stone workshop had a lot of stones, so there was no need for him to pay attention to such a strange stone. Lin Feng continued to search for his target in the courtyard. Not long after, Lin Feng arrived at an ancient tree. There were more than 10 stones under this tree. Lin Feng took a fancy to a purple stone material. This stone material was about 1.3 meters tall. Its shape was not particularly regular, and its widest part was about 1 meter wide. This stone was very strange. Lin Feng's sky demon snake eye couldn't see through the outer layer of the stone. The stone's skin seemed to be infused with a very strange energy, isolating everything. Lin Feng called Elder Jiangqi over and asked, "How much is this stone?" When Jiangqi saw that it was Lin Feng, she said unhappily, "This stone is worth 80,000 top-grade spirit stones." Lin Feng frowned slightly. The stone's price was much higher than he had expected. He didn't know if Jiangqi was trying to scam him. Master Dong Yuqing saw this stone with his own eyes, but he gave it up. 80,000 top-grade spirit stones isn't a small amount, so you have to be careful. Someone reminded him. Lin Feng thanked them, but he really felt that this stone material wasn't simple. He paid 80,000 top-grade spirit stones and bought it. Don't let your emotions affect your decisions. Many people shook their heads. This was a stone that Master Dong Yuqing had given up on, so they didn't think that there would be any treasures inside. Among the crowd, Dong Yuqing also looked over and smiled. Identifying stones is just a matter of probability. Although I don't think that stone is good, it doesn't mean that it won't be able to cut out something good. Let's go and see if that kid can cut out something good. Dong Yuqing and her friends also walked over to Lin Feng. Qian Rui Yuan and the others also walked over. When they saw that Lin Feng was about to cut the stone, Qian Rui looked pensive. Lin Feng cut 2 stones. The first one contained the Celestial Eyes demonic snake. The second one contained the herb kingworm. Now, Lin Feng wanted to cut the third stone, if he could find another treasure. Maybe it wasn't as simple as luck. This is a purple light stone. It's not a high-grade stone. If you want to cut it, you can cut the 3 stones that were pulled out of the land of death. Several patriarch-level old men came over and egged him on. Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes. Why didn't these old guys cut it themselves? The cheapest stone was 320,000 top-grade spirit stones. If he couldn't cut anything good out of it, wouldn't he suffer a huge loss? Lin Feng didn't bother to pay attention to those old guys. He held his knife and observed the purple light stone, looking for the best place to cut it. Cutting a stone was a test of one's skill, because the treasures inside were often very fragile. If one wasn't careful, they could be destroyed. Therefore, one had to be very careful when cutting the stone. Otherwise, if the treasures inside were destroyed, wouldn't one regret it for the rest of one's life? Swish, 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 stone chips flew everywhere. Pieces of the stone were cut off. Many people gathered around to watch. The stone was getting smaller and smaller, but he still couldn't cut anything. Look at this stone. It's like a honeycomb. Is it a honeycomb stone? If it's a honeycomb stone, then it's the lowest grade stone. It's worth 5 top-grade spirit stones at most. A cultivator pointed at the stone that was cut open. Dong Yuqing nodded and said, "From the inside, it's indeed a honeycomb stone. The Jiang family's stone shop isn't using such a low-grade stone to trick us, right?" Jiangqi's expression changed. Reputation was the most important thing in business. If his reputation was damaged, he wouldn't be able to do business in the future. He said, "Everyone, the Jiang family's name is the best brand. How could we use shoddy goods?" The changes inside the stone are caused by changes in the laws of heaven and earth. It's as difficult as ascending to the heavens for humans to change. We can judge a stone's grade and value from the outside, but we can't guarantee that there are changes inside the stone that we don't know about. Everyone nodded. There was indeed such a possibility. Due to some unknown reasons, some high-grade stones had internal changes that eventually led to the destruction of the stone. This kid's luck is really bad. He actually bought a stone that has already been destroyed. 80,000 top-grade spirit stones went down the drain just like that. Many people shook their heads. Could it be that there's really nothing inside? Did I sense it wrongly? Lin Feng frowned slightly. The stone was now only the size of a watermelon, but he still couldn't cut anything. This made Lin Feng suspicious. He cut down again. Suddenly, Lin Feng felt that his knife couldn't cut anymore. He seemed to have cut into something extremely hard, but Lin Feng didn't know what it was exactly. I cut it. Lin Feng was overjoyed. He quickly cut open the stone with his knife. Finally, a fist-sized crystal appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Roar. After the crystal appeared, a roar shook the sky. Many people's faces turned pale when they heard the roar, and they quickly retreated. After that, a ferocious beast surrounded by flames jumped out of the crystal. It waved its claws and clawed at Lin Feng. Heavens! That's a violet virtual flame beast. It's a ferocious beast that appeared from the crystal. Many people cried out in alarm. A ferocious beast had appeared from a crystal? It was too shocking. Suppress it. Lin Feng groaned coldly. Powerful magic surged out and bombarded the ferocious beast's body. The ferocious beast's body immediately disappeared. Lin Feng grabbed the purple crystal. A violet virtual flame beast appeared from the purple crystal. Is that the legendary violet fire deification crystal? A white-haired old man cried out in shock. Violet fire deification crystal? Isn't that a material used to forge ancient imperial weapons? Many people couldn't believe it. Many great ancestors were so excited that their bodies trembled violently when they saw the purple crystal. In the immemorial era, the great emperors had searched all over the world for such materials to forge great imperial weapons, but to no avail. Chapter 869. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. He hadn't expected to find such a valuable piece of ore. He could think of a way to integrate this ore into his lifebound magic treasure, which would increase the power of his lifebound magic treasure. What an incredible material! Great emperors couldn't find it in the past, and now it's here. It's a material for making great imperial weapons. It's unimaginable how valuable it is. Maybe the purple fire godly crystal is indescribably valuable. Countless people were discussing spiritedly. This place had been completely surrounded. Many older generation experts had also rushed over from other stone workshops because materials that could be used to forge ancient monarch weapons had appeared here. This was enough to shock the world. Young friend, what do you want? Just tell us. The great Qin Empire is willing to trade with you, said an old man. Lin Feng nodded. Many older cultivators also wanted to trade with Lin Feng, but Lin Feng refused. In Lin Feng's opinion, no treasure was as valuable as the purple fire godly crystal. I also need to make a weapon, so I'm sorry to disappoint you, said Lin Feng. Many people frowned. They shook their heads and sighed. If they had obtained such an incredible material, they wouldn't have taken it out to trade. Little boy, you have to be alive to get it, but you also have to be alive to use it, said someone. He was threatening Lin Feng. That person was extremely strong, and Lin Feng couldn't tell where he was. It was probably an ancestor. Lin Feng was worried. It wasn't a good thing to be targeted by such a strong cultivator, but Lin Feng couldn't hand over the treasure he had obtained. It's that person again. It's the second time he's threatened me. Lin Feng's eyes were ice cold. He put the purple fire godly crystal away. That person's murderous intent grew even stronger. Brother, you're really something, said Qian Rui Yuan, walking over. He was astonished. He felt that Lin Feng wasn't simple at all. Lin Feng had only managed to cut 3 pieces of stone, but he had managed to get 3 precious treasures. Besides, those stones weren't the best. Luck. Lin Feng smiled. The secret of the heavenly demon snake I could not be exposed. Otherwise, it would bring about a fatal disaster. Lin Feng naturally knew this. Isn't this kid the one who extracted the heavenly demon snake eye and the medicine king bug? At this time, someone said aloud, recognizing Lin Feng's identity. What? It's him? You managed to cut out 3 supreme treasures? Could it be that this kid has mastered a powerful stone identification technique? Many people cried out in alarm. Being able to cut out a treasure was already a huge stroke of luck. However, if he were to cut out supreme treasures one after another, anyone would be suspicious. What do you think, Master Dong? Someone asked Dong Yuqing. Dong Yuqing replied, this brat is indeed a bit strange. Lin Feng felt that this was not a place to stay for long. He had obtained 2 precious treasures in succession, and his harvest was already great enough. Thus, he wanted to leave. He whispered to Qian Ruiyuan. Qian Ruiyuan nodded and walked outside with Lin Feng. At this time, an old man said, "Young friend, please wait." This was an old imperial uncle of the great Zhou Empire. His status was extremely high, and his appearance caused a huge commotion. Even Qian Ruiyuan bowed to the old man. "This is the uncle of the current emperor of the great Zhou Empire," Qian Ruiyuan said. The ancient Qian family had a very close relationship with the great Zhou Empire, so Qian Ruiyuan recognized this old imperial uncle. Lin Feng cupped his fists in greeting. The old imperial uncle said, "Young friend, can you come to the stone workshop of the great Zhou Empire and help me identify a stone?" Lin Feng said, "My knowledge is shallow, and I was just lucky before. That's why I was able to cut out something good. I wouldn't dare show off in front of you." The old imperial uncle smiled and said, "Even if it's just luck, you're already very lucky. I'm here to take advantage of some of your luck. I hope you won't refuse." Since the old imperial uncle had put it this way, Lin Feng didn't continue to refuse. He nodded and followed the old imperial uncle to the stone workshop of the great Zhou Empire. This was a piece of stone from the Death Impasse. This piece of stone was green in color. It was 3 meters tall and 2 meters wide. It was shrouded in a cloud of dense energy. Lin Feng's eyelids twitched when he saw this stone. He felt that this stone wasn't simple. "Young friend, what do you think of this stone?" the old imperial uncle asked. This stone belonged to the great Zhou Empire, but it didn't belong to the old imperial uncle. Even if the old imperial uncle wanted to cut it, he would need to spend 670,000 top-grade spirit stones. This was a sky-high price, so the old imperial uncle would naturally be very careful. Lin Feng said, "Senior, do you plan to cut this stone? If you cut it and there's nothing, 670,000 top-grade spirit stones will be wasted." Some ugly words had to be said first. Although Lin Feng felt that this stone wasn't simple, he wasn't sure if there was anything valuable inside. If there wasn't, wouldn't the old imperial uncle hate him? That was a total of 670,000 top-grade spirit stones. Anyone would feel the pain of losing so many top-grade spirit stones. Lin Feng didn't want to be hated by a terrifying existence like the old imperial uncle. The old imperial uncle asked calmly, "Young friend, do you think you can cut it? This stone is indeed different from other stones, but I can't be sure if there's anything inside. Even if there's something inside, I can't be sure if it's valuable," Lin Feng said. Although Lin Feng was vague, the old imperial uncle had already heard the answer he wanted. This stone was indeed different from other stones. The old imperial uncle pondered for a moment, then gritted his teeth and decided to cut the stone. This caused a huge commotion because this stone was worth 670,000 top-grade spirit stones. It was a sky-high price, and no one had touched it for a long time. The price was so high that the old imperial uncle's decision to cut it attracted countless people to come and see. Swish! The old imperial uncle held the stone knife in his hand, and the surface of the stone kept falling off. When the stone was only half a meter high, the old imperial uncle swung the knife, and a divine light soared to the sky. Roar! A golden dragon appeared in the sky, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. My God! It's actually a dragon, a huge golden dragon. What exactly is contained in the stone to manifest such a vision? Is the old imperial uncle going to do it? Many people cried out in alarm. The old imperial uncle's hand trembled as he held the knife. He held his breath and focused, then cut the stone open. But what happened next shocked everyone. There was nothing inside the stone. What's going on? Many people were confused. A precious treasure had appeared, so why wasn't there anything inside the stone? Look, there's blood. I know. There was a drop of dragon blood sealed inside, but for some reason, the dragon blood's power dissipated. 670,000 top-grade spirit stones. The old imperial uncle is going to suffer a huge loss this time. Many people shook their heads, but there were also quite a few who were gloating. What a pity! What a pity! The old imperial uncle looked at the dried blood in the stone and shook his head, sighing. His expression was ugly. Losing 670,000 top-grade spirit stones was a huge loss even for his imperial uncle. There are still a few stones left. Little friend, please help me take a look. Take a look, the old imperial uncle said to Lin Feng. Lin Feng's scalp went numb. The old imperial uncle had spent 670,000 top-grade spirit stones to cut open the stone, but there was nothing inside. Lin Feng wasn't sure if the old imperial uncle would hate him or not. Now, the old imperial uncle was asking him to give him some pointers. If he couldn't find anything, the old imperial uncle would hate him to death. Don't worry, young friend. I won't blame you, no matter what happens, said the old imperial uncle. He flipped his right hand, and his Dharma energy swirled around him. A twisted cosmic energy appeared in his Dharma energy, containing a destructive power. Cosmic energy? Many people were astonished. The old imperial uncle had taken out a cosmic energy. What did he want to do? I killed a ferocious beast and extracted the cosmic energies from its body. After refining them, your cultivation level will increase exponentially. If you can extract something from them, I'll give it to you, little friend, to help you increase your cultivation level, said Lin Feng. Asked the old imperial uncle, looking at Lin Feng. Chapter 870. Laws could only be condensed by creation realm experts. Laws had extremely powerful offensive power. Under normal circumstances, when a creation realm cultivator was killed, the laws in their body would dissipate. However, there were some cultivators who possessed some special abilities. They could prevent the laws from dissipating. Then, they could extract the laws from the other party's body and seal them. The extracted laws could be refined by the cultivator to increase their cultivation level. Of course, they could also give it to others to refine and increase their cultivation level. If a yin-yang realm cultivator refined the laws, their cultivation level would immediately increase crazily. Even if they were not a match for a creation realm cultivator, they would not be far from the creation realm cultivator's strength. Lin Feng naturally knew what this law represented. With his current cultivation level, he was still not a match for a creation realm cultivator. However, if he refined this law, Lin Feng's combat strength would immediately be able to contend against a creation realm cultivator. Faced with the temptation of this law, Lin Feng really could not refuse. He smiled and said, "It's my honor to be of use to Senior F***CK. This kid is too shameless." Many people rolled their eyes. Everybody could see that Lin Feng didn't want to fight back. But now, he was acting all righteous and awe-inspiring. Many people raised their middle fingers at Lin Feng. This kid clearly wanted to get the laws in the imperial uncle's hands. He even made himself sound so noble. A shameless person was invincible in the world. Although they were disdainful, these cultivators were envious and jealous in their hearts. That was a law. If they refined it, their cultivation level would increase greatly. Just thinking about it made them excited. "Thank you, young friend." The imperial uncle chuckled and said, "Please follow me to the inner court." Many cultivators went together. Of course, not everyone was qualified to enter the inner court. The most precious stones were placed in the inner court, and only cultivators with status could enter. 90% of the cultivators were blocked outside. Only a few people could enter. Are you confident? If you fail again, I'm afraid. Qian Ruiyuan frowned slightly. Although the old royal uncle had a smile on his face, he didn't know what to say. Qian Ruiyuan, who was also from a top force, naturally didn't think that the old emperor would have such an expression after losing more than 1,000,000 top-level spirit stones. It was even possible that he had secretly killed Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, "Wealth comes from danger. Who knows, we might be able to find something good." Yi Futian was speechless. Qian Ruiyuan shook his head slightly. He was even thinking that if he didn't find anything good this time, he would apologize to his uncle and hope that his uncle would forgive Lin Feng. Soon, the group arrived at the inner courtyard. There were over 100 pieces of stone placed here, all of which were very valuable. The most expensive stones were in the depths of the cave. Each of them was worth more than 500,000 top-grade spirit stones. The most expensive one was a 5-orifice stone. It spewed out the essence of heaven and earth as if it was pregnant with life. That's a 5-orifice stone material. It's said that a stone ape is born from it. I wonder if that's true. Someone pointed at the five-orifice stone and whispered, "It looks like it's giving birth to life," said Lin Feng. That's right. It was a treasure of the Great Zhou Empire's stone workshop. Therefore, the Great Zhou Empire wouldn't sell it. The old emperor pointed at 5 stones in the depths of the cave and said, "These are the 5 stones. Which one is the best?" Lin Feng looked over. These were 5 very different stones. The first one was an immortal gazing stone. It was shaped like a human and seemed to be gazing into the distance. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat when he saw this stone. It was extraordinary. However, he found that he couldn't see through it. He couldn't see its secrets. It looks like these stones can even block the heavenly demon snake's eyes. Lin Feng frowned. He looked at the second stone. It was shaped like an ox, but it had a protruding part that looked like a dragon's head. The third stone had 4 wings on its back. Lin Feng had seen a stone with 2 wings before. It was quite similar to this one. The fourth stone was a stone that looked like a coffin. The fifth stone was a stone with messy edges and corners. "Senior, which stone do you like the most?" Lin Feng asked. "This is the immortal gazing stone," said the old emperor. Many people nodded. They also thought highly of the immortal gazing stone because it was indeed extraordinary. It was surrounded by immortal light. "It's indeed an extraordinary stone." Lin Feng nodded. The old emperor asked, "Do you also think it should be cut open?" Lin Feng shook his head. "All 5 stones are extraordinary. I need to examine them carefully." The old emperor nodded. He didn't disturb Lin Feng. The people around them were silent as well, waiting for Lin Feng to choose. Many people were convinced that Lin Feng had a secret technique. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken out so many precious treasures. Now, he was choosing a stone for the emperor. "I can't see through these stones. It looks like I'll have to use the heavenly demon snake's eyes." Lin Feng frowned. Around his body, clouds of black mist spread out. The black fog surrounded Lin Feng. At the same time, it also covered the 5 stones. "What's that kid doing?" Many people were shocked. Dong Yuqing's eyes shone brightly as he said, "It's just as I guessed. This kid knows a powerful stone discernment technique. He must be using it to conceal himself with the black fog. He doesn't want us to see his stone discernment technique." Within the fog, Lin Feng's heavenly demon snake's eyes opened. He looked at the 5 stones. The 5 stones were covered by a strange energy, preventing Lin Feng from examining them. The heavenly demon snake's eyes. All things return to the origin. The original eyes can see through illusions. Lin Feng murmured. Swish. The heavenly demon snake's eyes shone with black light as it looked at the 5 stones. "Ah!" Lin Feng glanced at them and felt as if he had been struck by lightning. Blood flowed out of his forehead. He quickly closed the heavenly demon snake's eyes. The heavenly demon snake's eyes became invisible. The black fog disappeared. Lin Feng's face was pale. "Young man, what happened?" The old man looked at Lin Feng suspiciously. Many people looked at Lin Feng in surprise. Lin Feng's face was very pale, and he had just screamed. Something terrible must have happened. Lin Feng's heart was still pounding. He had been attacked, but he hadn't even realized what had attacked him. Could it be that one of the stones in the workshop gave birth to a real life? Lin Feng thought of a possibility. He couldn't help but take a deep breath. His facial expression changed. The old man asked again, "Young man, are you all right?" Qian Ruiyuan looked at Lin Feng worriedly and asked, "Brother Lin, are you hurt?" Lin Feng came back to his senses and shook his head. Lin Feng looked around. He wanted to find out which creature had attacked him from the inside of the stone. The stone had tried to destroy his soul, but he had blocked it with the heavenly demon snake's eyes. If it hadn't been for the snake's eyes, he might have died. Lin Feng was naturally angry at the stone creature hiding in the dark. "My cultivation is not high enough, and I've injured the snake's eyes. I can't find it. It seems that I'll have to look for it next time." Lin Feng frowned. The old man asked, "Young man, how should I choose these 5 stones?" Lin Feng looked at the 5 stones. A moment before, Lin Feng had glanced at the 5 stones. Even though he hadn't seen them clearly, Lin Feng had the feeling that the most extraordinary stone was probably the 5th one. The 5th stone's edges were messy, and it looked like the most ordinary of the 5 stones. However, Lin Feng had sensed a black aura lingering within the fifth stone. That black aura made Lin Feng's heart jump. Lin Feng didn't sense the same thing from the other four stones. Everyone looked at Lin Feng, waiting to see which stone Lin Feng would choose. He'll probably choose the immortal gazing stone, right? Maybe he'll be able to find a sacred spirit from it. A cultivator said, I think he'll choose the stone with the dragon's head. Maybe there's a dragon's treasure buried inside. Another cultivator said. Many cultivators discussed in low voices, each expressing their own opinions. Lin Feng pointed at the fifth stone and said, if I had to choose, I'd choose this one. He actually chose the fifth stone. Many people frowned in confusion. The fifth stone was extremely precious, worth 530,000 top-grade spirit stones. However, it was much worse than the other four stones. As for the other four stones, the cheapest one was worth 860,000 top-grade spirit stones, while the other three were worth more than 1 million top-grade spirit stones. Moreover, Lin Feng's fifth stone didn't have as much energy fluctuations as the other four stones. Its appearance wasn't particularly outstanding either. The Imperial Uncle nodded. Okay, I'll cut this one. The Imperial Uncle held his knife and walked over to the stone. He carefully cut the fifth stone. The Imperial Uncle was obviously very experienced when it came to cutting stones. His wrist moved nimbly, and the stone's outer layer was cut off one by one. Many people exclaimed in amazement at his amazing stone-cutting technique. It didn't take long for the fifth stone to be cut down to 0.5 meter in diameter. However, he didn't find anything. Many people were discussing whether he could cut out anything from the last stone. Would it be the same as the previous stone that was worth 670,000 top-grade spirit stones? Would he be unable to cut out anything? Of course, that was a possibility. Old Uncle's face looked serious. When the stone was only 20 centimeters in diameter, Old Uncle's hands started to tremble. 2 stones had cost him 1,200,000 top-grade spirit stones. If he couldn't cut anything, his loss would be too great. At that moment, the Imperial Uncle stopped. His right hand trembled slightly, and he couldn't cut any further. The Imperial Uncle was obviously struggling in his heart. Lin Feng could naturally understand the Imperial Uncle's complicated feelings. If he couldn't cut anything, the blow would be too great. Lin Feng said, Senior, this is the last cut. Maybe you can cut out something good. The royal uncle gritted his teeth. He held the stone-cutting knife and sliced it down. Clang! A crisp sound was heard. It was obvious that the knife had hit something. Everyone's expression suddenly changed. The Imperial Uncle's previous decadence was swept away. He excitedly cut open the stone. A palm bone appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The palm bone was surrounded by runes. It was very likely that it recorded an ancient divine ability. Suddenly, the palm bone soared into the sky. Endless demonic fog surged out, covering the sky and the sun. The palm bone floated in the demonic fog, revealing the phantom of a sacred demon. The sacred demon was wearing an ancient demonic robe, and its demonic aura was monstrous. When they felt the demonic aura emitted by the sacred demon, countless people had the urge to kneel on the ground and worship the sacred demon. In the primordial era, the sacred demon was in existence on the same level as the primordial gods. Heavens, it's actually the legendary sacred demon palm. Shocked gazes turned to the sacred demon's phantom and the palm bone in the endless black fog in the sky. They couldn't help but shout in shock. It was as if monstrous waves were surging in their hearts. The value of a sacred demon palm was unimaginable. Chapter 871. The large, earthen yellow hand grabbed down and instantly dispersed the holy demon's projection. Just as the yellow hand was about to grab the holy demon bone, the Imperial Uncle roared furiously, You're courting death. You're courting death. How dare you steal something from me? You're courting death. The Imperial Uncle was furious. He raised his right hand and slapped it. Buzz. A huge energy handprint condensed in the void. It was the illusory palm, a peerless technique recorded in the Great Zhou Empire's illusionary imperial scripture. The energy handprint in the void collided violently with the earthy yellow hand. Rumble. It sounded like the beating of a war drum. The collision between the two was extremely intense. In the end, the yellow hand quickly retreated and disappeared without a trace. No one knew who had attacked the holy demon bone. However, it was obvious that the person who dared to attack the great Zhou Empire's workshop was definitely an ancestor. The imperial uncle didn't chase after him. Instead, he hurriedly put the holy demon bone away. This bone was comparable to an immemorial god's bone. The runes on it might be an immemorial god's technique. It was too precious. No wonder it attracted people's attention. Holy demon palm bone. It's too precious. Many people looked at the imperial uncle enviously. They wanted nothing more than to snatch the holy demon bone from the imperial uncle. However, they weren't strong enough, so no one dared to attack. It was a priceless treasure. If it recorded a complete immemorial god's technique, it would be even more precious. Thank you so much, young friend. These Dharma laws belong to you. The imperial uncle was very excited. He gave the sealed Dharma laws to Lin Feng. Senior, you're too polite. This is a fair trade. Lin Feng smiled and put away the sealed Dharma laws. He planned to go back and refine them. Young friend, please help me identify the stones. Once it's done, I'll definitely thank you. Young friend, I'm willing to give you an immemorial god's technique. Please help me identify a few stones. Young friend, my crystal card has 200,000 top-grade spirit stones. I hope you can accept it and help me choose a stone. Many people surrounded Lin Feng. Not even a drop of water could escape. After Lin Feng appeared, he cut a total of 4 stones. He had actually obtained 3 supreme treasures. Even though nothing had been cut out of the stone, there was still dragon blood sealed in it. If it weren't for the unforeseen circumstances, he would have cut out dragon blood as well. What kind of ability was this? It was simply heaven-defying. Everyone, I still have some matters to attend to, so I have to leave now. As for the matter of choosing a stone, I really don't have the strength to help. Lin Feng and Qian Ruiyuan squeezed through the crowd and quickly left. Have you heard? A minor stone saint appeared in the stone workshop and cut out the eye of the heavenly demon snake, the medicine king bug, and the saint devil palm bone. It can't be? Was this for real? It's probably just a rumor, right? Of course it's true. Many people saw it with their own eyes. Little Stone Saint only cut 4 pieces of stone and found 3 treasures. When he failed, there was dragon blood sealed inside the stone. But then something happened inside the stone and the dragon blood dispersed. If that hadn't happened, that stone would have been able to contain dragon blood as well, said Lin Feng. He's actually so heaven-defying. Who exactly is this Little Stone Saint? Can we ask Little Stone Saint to help us choose a stone? Let's go and find Little Stone Saint. Very quickly, the news about the Little Stone Saint quickly spread. It first spread in the stone workshop. Then, it spread throughout Angriak City. When Lin Feng and Qian Ruiyuan returned to their residence, they activated a restrictive spell and refused to see anyone. Lin Feng wanted to refine the cosmic energy he had obtained to increase his strength. As for Qian Ruiyuan, he was observing the medicine king bug he had obtained. In a room, Lin Feng sat cross-legged. His hand was surrounded by magical energy, and the cosmic energy was sealed inside. Demon Lord, will there be any danger in refining the cosmic energy? Asked Lin Feng telepathically, but he didn't get a reply. The Demon Lord seemed to be in seclusion. Perhaps he was still refining the divine source. Lin Feng took a deep breath. Whether or not there was any danger, he would refine the cosmic energy. Lin Feng absorbed the cosmic energy. Then, he began to circulate his magical energy and refine the cosmic energy. The seal on the cosmic energy was just released. A terrifying destructive energy surged out of the cosmic energy and began to wreak havoc in Lin Feng's body. Puff. Lin Feng spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was extremely pale. Refining the cosmic energy wasn't a simple matter. If it was someone else, they would have lost half their life. Archaic dragonesque elephant art. Suppress? Shouted Lin Feng. He hurriedly circulated the archaic dragonesque elephant art to suppress the violent energy in his body. Archaic dragonesque elephant, holy emperor art. The phantom of the archaic dragon-esque elephant appeared and began to suppress the violent energy in Lin Feng's body. The violent energy surging out of the cosmic energy gradually became gentle, but suddenly, the cosmic energy fluctuated violently. It seemed that it wasn't willing to be refined like this. Then, a strange sound that sounded like a cow or a dragon's cry was heard. A gray flood dragon condensed and formed. This gray flood dragon was fierce and violent. It rampaged through Lin Feng's body, trying to tear apart Lin Feng's body. So it's a gray flood dragon's cosmic energy. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He used the divine source in his dantian and burned part of it to support the archaic dragon-esque elephant art and suppress the gray flood dragon. The gray flood dragon roared angrily and struggled violently, but in the end, its body was shattered. Lin Feng began to refine the cosmic energy in his body. One day later, Lin Feng finally succeeded in refining the cosmic energy. Lin Feng felt as if there was a primordial beast sleeping in his body. This was the power of the cosmic energy. Creak! Lin Feng opened the door. Seeing Lin Feng come out, Qian Ruiyuan smiled and said, "It seems that you've refined the cosmic energy. How do you feel?" Lin Feng smiled and said, "It feels like I devoured a primordial beast. I have endless power." Qian Ruiyuan said, "The power of the cosmic energy is naturally very strong, but if you want to be proficient in using it, you'll need to slowly gain experience through actual combat." Lin Feng nodded. At that moment, Qian Ruiyuan said, "Many important people have come looking for you, including many ancestors from primordial powers. Do you want to meet them?" Lin Feng smiled bitterly and said, "It's really quite troublesome. If I refuse, I'll offend these people. How about this? If anyone can take out a cosmic energy, I'll act." Taking out a cosmic energy was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. However, if they could really take out a cosmic energy, Lin Feng wouldn't mind acting. The more cosmic energy he refined, the stronger he would become. After 3 more days of seclusion, Lin Feng familiarized himself with the power of the cosmic energy. After that, Lin Feng and Qian Ruiyuan went to the stone workshop again. Now that Lin Feng had refined the cosmic energy, his cultivation had skyrocketed, and he wanted to find the mysterious creature that had injured him. If he could find it and cut it out, it would definitely be a heaven-defying existence. Look, little rock saint is here. Chapter 872. Young friend, please help us this time. The Wu family of the Taitsong Prefecture will remember your kindness. Young friend, I've prepared 500,000 top-grade spirit stones. I hope you can help me identify a few stones. Many white-haired old men came from all over to ask for Lin Feng's help. The Stone Saint's methods were incredible. Who wouldn't be shocked? If they could ask the Stone Saint to help them, they would definitely gain something. Lin Feng said, "Everyone, nothing can be accomplished without rules. My rule is that if you want me to help, you have to take out a law. If they had a law, they would either refine it themselves or give it to an outstanding junior in their clan to refine. Thus, it was too difficult to take out a law. Many people wanted to persuade Lin Feng to reconsider, but Lin Feng declined. Lin Feng and Qian Ruiyuan went to the stone workshop of the Great Zhou Empire. Lin Feng had been attacked by the stone creature in the workshop of the Great Zhou Empire, so he wanted to search there first. The stone creature was terrifying, but Lin Feng believed that its strength was still limited. It hadn't grown to a heaven-defying level, so this was his only chance to subdue it. If he could subdue such a creature, he would have an extremely powerful battle pet. Lin Feng walked around the stone workshop of the Great Zhou Empire, but he was disappointed. There were thousands of stones in the huge courtyard, but Lin Feng couldn't find where the mysterious creature was hiding. Lin Feng frowned. Had he guessed wrong? Was it not in the stone workshop of the Great Zhou Empire? If it had attacked him in another stone workshop, the strength of that creature might have been much stronger than he had imagined. Lin Feng and Qian Ruiyuan left the stone workshop of the Great Zhou Empire and went to the stone workshop of the Jiang family, but they couldn't find it either. He went to the next stone workshop, but he didn't find anything after going through more than a dozen large stone workshops. What is the Stone Saint looking for? Some people were puzzled and realized that something wasn't quite right. Lin Feng had visited more than 10 stone workshops in a row, but he still hadn't cut any stones. Sometimes he would frown, as if he was looking for something. This made many people shocked. The thing Little Stone Saint wanted to find in the stone workshop was most likely extremely extraordinary. Yuhua Immortal Dynasty's stone workshop. Lin Feng came to a new stone workshop and frowned slightly. This was actually the power of Huangfu Qingtian's clan. Huangfu Qingtian was a prince of the Yuhua Immortal Dynasty. Lin Feng and Huangfu Qingtian had a battle of life and death for 10 years. The two of them already had an irreconcilable grudge. The people of the Yuhua Immortal Dynasty naturally wouldn't spare Lin Feng. "I finally know who's threatening me and trying to kill me," Lin Feng murmured. Lin Feng recalled the 2 times he had been threatened in secret. The person hiding in the dark did not hide his killing intent. From the looks of it now, the other party might very well be someone from the Yuhua Immortal Dynasty. Moreover, he had already recognized Lin Feng's identity. "Let's go in and have a look," said Lin Feng. Qian Ruiyuan nodded and entered the stone workshop of the Yuhua Immortal Dynasty with Lin Feng. Many cultivators followed them inside. They were all very curious about what Little Stone Saint was looking for. He had searched all the major stone workshops but failed to find anything. "Someone wants to cut a stone." At that moment, an excited voice spread in the air. An important person of the Yuhua Immortal Dynasty wanted to cut a stone. That person was called Huangfu Chong. He looked to be in his 50s or 60s. He was thin and his eyes were flickering with cold light. He was a member of the imperial family of the Yuhua Immortal Dynasty. As expected, it's him. Lin Feng smiled coldly when he saw Huangfu Chong. When he arrived next to that person, he vaguely sensed a familiar qi. It was the mysterious cultivator who had threatened him twice. "Little Stone Saint, I want to cut a celestial stone. Little Stone Saint, can you help me take a look?" Huangfu Chong said with a smile, looking very amiable. Lin Feng didn't refuse this time. He nodded. He wanted to see what kind of stone this person who wanted to kill him wanted to cut. "Little Stone Saint wants to cut a stone," many people exclaimed. Huangfu Chong was very proud. Everyone said that Little Stone Saint had to pay a price for cutting a stone. Today, he had invited Little Stone Saint to cut a stone, but he didn't have to pay anything. Many people started thinking. Little Stone Saint had broken his own rules by helping Huangfu Chong cut a stone for free. In that case, they could also look for Little Stone Saint to cut a stone. If they found another reason to refuse, it would mean that they were looking down on the other groups. At that time, they would offend a large number of groups. "It's this celestial stone. What do you think, Little Stone Saint?" Huangfu Chong pointed at a stone. It was a human-shaped stone with 3 orifices. Its hands were facing the sky, emitting the essence of the sun and the moon. It was extraordinary. Lin Feng glanced at it, but didn't answer Huangfu Chong. Huangfu Chong said, "Little Stone Saint, what do you think?" "Give me a law and I'll tell you," said Lin Feng. You're playing with me?" Huangfu Chong's face sank. "What do you mean by that?" asked Lin Feng indifferently. "I invited you to cut a stone, and you agreed without asking for a reward. Now you're asking for a reward. Aren't you playing with me?" said Huangfu Chong with an unsightly expression. He felt like he had lost face. He already wanted to kill Lin Feng, but now he wanted to kill Lin Feng even more. Lin Feng said indifferently, "I didn't say I didn't want a reward. Senior Huangfu, you've been famous for a long time. Don't you know that you have to pay a reward if you ask for help? You want help, but you don't want to pay anything. Do you really think there's such a good thing in the world? What are you thinking, Elder Huangfu?" Many people laughed. Lin Feng was mocking Huangfu Chong. How could they not know? "Bastard! I won't argue with you for now." Huangfu Chong sneered. Lin Feng didn't say anything else. He already knew who wanted to kill him. He just had to be careful. Huangfu Chong looked at the human-shaped stone. It was one of the most precious stones in the Yuhua Immortal Dynasty's stone workshop. Powerful fluctuations of life spread out from the stone. The people of the Yuhua Immortal Dynasty suspected that a sacred spirit had been born inside. They wanted to cut the stone. If a sacred spirit was born, it would definitely become a powerhouse on the Tianwu continent, even if it wasn't as strong as the sacred battle ape of old. Any saint spirit in its complete form was extremely terrifying. Swish! A stone-cutting knife appeared in Huang Fuchong's hand. He stood in front of the human-shaped stone and decided to cut it. Swish! 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 The surface of the stone was cut off. Soon, a large pile of stone was formed on the ground. As the surface of the stone was cut off, the aura of the stone became more and more terrifying. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying aura spread out from the stone. The aura suppressed the heavens and shook the earth. It was like an ancient god was awakening from a deep slumber. Everyone's expression changed when they sensed the terrifying aura. The cultivators of the Yuhua immortal dynasty led by Huang Fuchong were so excited that tears streamed down their faces. If he was truly a saint spirit, he would be able to sweep through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Crack, crack. The stone golem moved its legs and walked forward. It was as if a deity was walking, and the great Tao was resonating. However, the stone man roared angrily, "Why did you make me come out ahead of time?" His voice was filled with endless sorrow and unwillingness. Kacha kacha. In the next moment, the stone man began to crumble. His body turned into a pile of rubble that piled up on the ground. The powerful aura that had filled the entire courtyard dissipated. Phew! The cultivators who had been secretly preparing to attack heaved a sigh of relief. The stone man had given them too much pressure, and they were all frightened. Now that the stone man had actually self-destructed, this was the best possible outcome. How could this be? No. Huang Fuchong and the other cultivators of the Yuhua celestial dynasty roared unwillingly. They couldn't accept this scene. A divine spirit had been destroyed just like that. It made their hearts bleed. Why did the stone man self-destruct? Qian Ruiyuan was puzzled. Lin Feng said, "I think that the stone man wasn't truly born. He still needed a long time to mature. Now that he was cut out ahead of time, he suffered a backlash from the great Tao. The stone man couldn't resist it, so he self-destructed." Many people nodded, agreeing with Lin Feng's explanation. However, they also felt that it was a pity. The stone man had almost been born, but he had self-destructed. Next time, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens to find another stone man like this. Lin Feng walked around the Yuhua celestial dynasty's stone workshop. Suddenly, he sensed a strange life energy fluctuation. "It's that spirit." Lin Feng was startled. He wanted to find the spirit as soon as possible, but the spirit instantly disappeared without a trace. It had concealed its qi. Even his godly awareness couldn't detect it. What a terrifying concealment ability. Lin Feng frowned. He couldn't help but look at the pile of rubble. Lin Feng inspected it. He frowned. "What are you looking at?" asked Huang Fuchong gloomily. "This stone didn't self-destruct. The saint spirit inside the other stone devoured its life force and destroyed it," said Lin Feng, shaking his head. Lin Feng took a deep breath. What? How could such a thing happen? Everybody was astonished. They couldn't believe it. Lin Feng nodded gravely. Even if it self-destructed, it had been nurtured for so many years, so it should still have life energy. But now, the stone man has turned into a pile of rubble. Its life energy has been completely absorbed. It must have been devoured by an even more powerful divine spirit. This news was earth-shattering. Many people started looking for the divine spirit that Lin Feng had mentioned. "You've been looking for that divine spirit?" asked Qian Ruiyuan. Lin Feng nodded. "It's much stronger than I thought. Even the stone man's life strength was absorbed by it. That holy spirit is terrifying. It's cruel and merciless. It didn't show any mercy when attacking a holy spirit," said Lin Feng. "If we can find that divine spirit..." Qian Ruiyuan's voice trembled. He knew what that divine spirit represented. Once it was born, it would probably become an invincible existence. Qian Ruiyuan also started searching. But obviously, that divine spirit had left the Yuhua celestial dynasty's workshop and was hiding in another workshop. It could move freely, and it could even pass through the deployment spells of the other workshops. Therefore, it was almost impossible to find it. In the Longevity Temple's workshop, Lin Feng found a stone that looked like a dragon turtle. It was worth 230,000 top-grade spirit stones. Lin Feng bought it and planned to cut it open. Little Stone Saint wanted to cut another stone. The news quickly spread. Many ancestor-level experts rushed over. Dragon Turtle Stone. I've studied it for a long time, but I feel that it's lifeless. It doesn't look like something good. An ancestor-level expert said, I've studied it too. It doesn't look like something good. I don't know why Little Stone Saint chose it. Another ancestor-level existence said. Lin Feng started cutting the stone. The stone layer kept falling off, and the dragon turtle stone quickly shrank. Clang! Suddenly, a clear sound spread in the air. Many people were startled. He had really found something. In the end, the stone was completely cut open. What was inside appeared in front of everybody. A turtle shell. Lin Feng was astonished. Look, there are pictures and words on the back of the turtle shell, shouted a cultivator, pointing at the back of the turtle shell. Heavens! This is a technique from the immemorial era called divine diagram engraving on tortoise shell. The diagram engraved on a tortoise shell usually contains shocking secrets. What kind of secret is this tortoise shell in Little Stone Saint's hand? Chapter 874. Lin Feng felt a lot of malicious gazes. During this period of time, he had cut out a lot of good things, so people were spying on him. Lin Feng frowned slightly. He put away the tortoise shell. He would study it after going back. Lin Feng didn't stay long and quickly left with Qian Ruiyuan. After returning, Lin Feng began to study the contents of the tortoise shell. There were some ancient characters and 9 pictures on the tortoise shell. Lin Feng went out and bought some books with ancient characters to compare. The result gave him a huge shock. Heaven's Tribulation Demon Realm. It turned out to be such a place. Lin Feng didn't expect it at all. It was an ancient and mysterious secret realm. It probably dated back to the ancient times. Lin Feng didn't know what kind of secret realm it was. Because there was no explanation on the tortoise shell, it seems that the 9 pictures are the maps to the secret realm. Lin Feng put away the tortoise shell. Such ancient secret realms often had great secrets and opportunities. If one could get such opportunities, they would benefit immensely. Why was Huangfu Qingtian so powerful? At such a young age, even the experts of the older generation were no match for Huangfu Qingtian. The reason was that Huangfu Qingtian controlled the secret realm of ether. I can't stay in Angry Axe City anymore. Many people want to harm me. Also, I have to go to the Heaven's Tribulation Demon Realm to see if there are opportunities waiting for me. Lin Feng thought. The next day, someone sent a letter. Lin Feng opened the letter. If you want to forge a doctrine tool, go to East Sheening Street, Lane 16, Alley 32. It was a simple line of words. Lin Feng was very surprised. There were only 2 people who knew that he wanted to forge a doctrine tool. They were Morong Shui and the mysterious blacksmith from Heaven Saint City. Lin Feng had found the golden giant bone to find the mysterious blacksmith, but she had already left. Lin Feng didn't expect that he would see the mysterious blacksmith again in Angry Axe City. Brother Lin, I also have to return to the Qian clan. Tonight, we will leave the Angry Axe City together. You can't stay here alone. There are many people watching you. Qian Ruiyuan said. Lin Feng nodded. The group of people left the Angry Axe City. On the way, Lin Feng and Qian Ruiyuan parted ways. After wandering around outside for 3 days, one night, Lin Feng put on a large robe, put on a bamboo hat, and once again sneaked into the Angry Axe City, and then went straight to the address given to him by the mysterious blacksmith. Soon, Lin Feng arrived at East Sheening Street, Lane 16, Alley 32. This place was obviously a slum, dirty and messy. Lin Feng stood at the entrance of number 32 alley and looked into the depths. It was pitch black, and the place was strangely quiet. Lin Feng muttered to himself, I wonder why that great blacksmith has such a unique hobby. When he was in Heaven's Sacred City, he lived in the slums. Now that he had come to the Angry Axe City and was living in the slums, can he find a better place? Lin Feng walked into the depths of the alley. Boom, boom. Suddenly, in the darkness, someone launched a sneak attack on Lin Feng. The person who launched the sneak attack had completely hidden his aura, and even Lin Feng did not notice it. These 2 people shouldn't be together. Lin Feng had already sensed the aura of the person in front of him, It was Huang Fuchong. Lin Feng did not know who the person who attacked him from behind was. Two good fortune realm powerhouses attacked together, and Lin Feng was caught off guard. Now, it was too late to dodge. Lin Feng's face was very ugly. He felt the threat of death. Boy, do you think that you sneaked into the Angry Axe City without anyone knowing? But you don't know that this king has already found you. Huang Fuchong sneered. Die. The other person also said in a gloomy voice. Seeing that the two people's attacks were about to hit Lin Feng, the situation was very dangerous. Humph! At this moment, a cold snort was suddenly heard. Bang! Huang Fuchong and the other powerhouse who launched the sneak attack on Lin Feng were forced to retreat. Who is it? Huang Fuchong and the other good fortune realm powerhouse were shocked. They did not expect that such a powerful person was hidden in this alley. Get lost. The mysterious blacksmith's voice came from the depths of the alley. Huang Fuchong and the other good fortune realm powerhouse looked gloomy. No matter how unwilling they were, they did not dare to stay and could only leave. That granny's cultivation is so strong. Lin Feng took a deep breath. When facing the siege of two good fortune realm powerhouses, if he was careless, he would have died. However, the mysterious blacksmith's cold snort had forced the two powerhouses to retreat. It showed how extraordinary this blacksmith's strength was. Lin Feng was wondering how strong that blacksmith was. Even if he wasn't an extremely strong cultivator, he was very close to one. Lin Feng entered the depths of the alley and stopped outside the innermost courtyard. He clasped his hands and said, "Thank you, Senior. You are my guest. I will not let you stain this place with blood. Come in." The mysterious blacksmith's faint voice came. Lin Feng pushed the door open and entered. The mysterious blacksmith stood in the courtyard under the moonlight. She was already very old, but it was not until today that Lin Feng realized how terrifying this old body contained. Lin Feng learned from Murong Shui that this mysterious blacksmith was called Granny Fengli. As for her origin, he did not know. Even Murong Shui did not know. Granny Fengli's identity was very mysterious. "I have found the golden giant's bone." Lin Feng took out the bone and handed it to Granny Fengli. Granny Fengli nodded and said, "I heard that you found a purple fire deity crystal in the stone workshop?" Lin Feng felt a chill in his heart. He did not know why Granny Fengli was asking about this at this time. The purple fire deity crystal was too precious. If Granny Fengli wanted to kill him and steal it, Lin Feng knew that he would not be able to resist. Lin Feng could only suppress the worry and fear in his heart and said, "That's right. I did find a purple fire deity crystal. You're a hot potato. I know you've made a powerful natal weapon. How about this? I'll help you one more time. I'll put the purple fire divinity crystal into your natal weapon and increase its power, but you have to promise me one thing," said Lin Feng. Granny Fengli said. Lin Feng let out a sigh of relief. As long as Granny Fengli did not have any ideas about his purple fire deity crystal, it was fine. Granny Fengli had actually agreed to help him refine the purple fire deity crystal. This would save Lin Feng the trouble of finding someone else to refine the purple fire deity crystal. Moreover, if he were to find someone else, he would inevitably be plotted against. Lin Feng asked, "What does Senior want me to do?" "Come with me to the Snow Province. I want to go to a place and steal a treasure. Your mastery of spirit arrays is not bad. Perhaps you can help me," Granny Fengli said. Lin Feng immediately felt his scalp go numb. Granny Fengli's strength was unfathomable. If she wanted to steal a treasure, then what kind of terrifying existence was the person who was fighting with Granny Fengli? He was probably in existence at the level of an ancient powerhouse. With Lu Yin's current cultivation level, if he was the slightest bit careless, he could die without a grave. "If you are not willing, I will not force you," Granny Fengli said gloomily. Lin Feng's heart trembled. He could feel the coldness emanating from Granny Fengli's body. If he refused, he was afraid that Granny Fengli would turn hostile. He gritted his teeth and said, "All right, Senior, I promise you." Granny Fengli nodded in satisfaction. "Wait here for 10 days. After 10 days, I will refine your two treasures. Come with me." Chapter 875. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. Lin Feng was anxiously waiting outside. Boom! Along with the shockwave, the door of the crafting room was opened. Grandma Fengli walked out from within. She waved her right hand. Swoosh! 2 balls of light flew out. The 2 balls of light contained the 7 treasures glazed pagoda and the primal chaos ancient lamp. Around the 7 treasures glazed pagoda, the power of the laws of the great Tao came down, and with a slight shake, the surrounding space was slightly distorted. Middle-grade Tao artifact, Lin Feng exclaimed. This 7 treasures glazed pagoda was not a low-grade Tao artifact, but a middle-grade one, which surprised Lin Feng. Granny Fengli said, originally, the 7 treasures glazed pagoda could only be upgraded to a low-grade Tao treasure, but when I was upgrading it, I added a small amount of purple fire deity crystals, and it immediately upgraded this treasure by a level. This was a pleasant surprise. Lin Feng's spirit sense communicated with the 7 treasures glazed pagoda. 7 treasures glazed pagoda, immeasurable. Suddenly, Lin Feng heard a faintly discernible voice. He carefully sensed it and found that it was the 7 treasures glazed pagoda's spirit. The 7 treasures glazed pagoda's spirit turned into a cultivator wearing a 7-colored kasaya. The spirit's body was surrounded by 7-colored light, which shrouded him and emitted a mysterious aura. Good. This is great. The 7 treasures glazed pagoda has been upgraded to a middle-grade Tao artifact, and its defense has greatly increased. Lin Feng waved his hand and kept the 7 treasures glazed pagoda. Then, he looked at the life treasure, the primal chaos ancient lamp. The changes in the primal chaos ancient lamp surprised Lin Feng even more. After the purple fire divine crystal was integrated, the primal chaos ancient lamp had begun to nurture its own spirit. In terms of attack and defense, the primal chaos ancient lamp was definitely better than a normal Tao artifact. The materials used to forge the primal chaos ancient lamp are too extraordinary, and now that the purple fire divine crystal has been added, the primal chaos ancient lamp is even more extraordinary. For such a treasure, it will be difficult to nurture its own spirit. I estimate, when the spirit is formed, when the primal chaos ancient lamp's time. Grandma Fengli said. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. I hope that day will come soon. Granny Fengli suddenly laughed strangely and said, You must never reveal this primal chaos ancient lamp. If you do, all the great clans and holy lands of the Tianwu continent will hunt you down. Lin Feng nodded. Naturally, he knew the severity of the situation. The primal chaos ancient lamp was forged from the primal chaos ancestral chi. It was the prototype of an ancient imperial weapon. Now, it had been strengthened by the purple fire deity crystal. Even ancient powers would go crazy if they saw such a treasure. Therefore, he had to be careful. Lin Feng stored the primal chaos ancient lamp into his mind. His soul was hidden in the primal chaos ancient lamp. Some top experts, or some cultivators who were very proficient in soul divine abilities, liked to attack the soul silently. However, Lin Feng's soul was protected by the primal chaos ancient lamp. Even an ancient overlord would find it difficult to harm his soul. When will we leave for Snow Province? Lin Feng asked. We'll rest for a day. Tomorrow, we'll take the teleportation formation to Northern Barren City. From there, we'll take the space-time wormhole to Snow Province. Grandma Fengli said. Lin Feng nodded. After returning to his room, he sat down cross-legged and adjusted his state of mind. The journey from the Barren region to Snow Province was a long one that required crossing 5 provinces. If they flew, it would probably take more than 100 years to reach Snow Province. However, using the space-time wormhole, it would only take a month. The next day, Lin Feng and Grandma Fengli went to the teleportation square together. Lin Feng could vaguely feel a few cold auras locking onto him. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Some powers had their eyes on him and wanted to kill him to steal his treasure. However, they were afraid of Grandma Fengli's strength and did not act. After arriving at Northern Barren City, Lin Feng and Grandma Fengli entered the space-time wormhole. A month later, they arrived at Snow City, one of the 5 great ancient cities of Snow Province. As far as the eye could see, it was snowing heavily. This was Snow Province, where the snow never stopped falling. The weather in Snow Province was very cold, but for powerful cultivators, this kind of cold was not something they were afraid of. Let's rest for a day before we set off. Grandma Fengli said. Do you know where we're going? Lin Feng asked. Frigid Ice Lake. Grandma Fengli said. Hiss. Lin Feng gasped. Lin Feng had read about Frigid Ice Lake from the records of the heavens. It was a very dangerous place. It was said that there was a snow dragon living in Frigid Ice Lake. This snow dragon had cultivated for 10,000 years. Senior, are you going to steal the snow dragon's treasure? Lin Feng said with a bitter smile. You guessed right. Grandma Fengli smiled. Lin Feng was speechless. This Grandma Fengli was really crazy. He hoped that this trip would go smoothly. He did not want to lose his life in Frigid Ice Lake. They walked towards an inn. On the way, there were dozens of strange beasts charging towards them. Many people were forced to dodge them. Some of the slower cultivators were directly sent flying by the whips of the cultivators sitting on the strange beasts. Who are these people? How dare they be so arrogant in Snow City? Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. A middle-aged cultivator said, They're from Snow Province's Xiang clan. Snow Province's Xiang clan was an archaic clan, and the only archaic clan in Snow Province. Snow Province was adjacent to the Western region's Buddhist kingdom, but it was not part of the 72 northern states. Therefore, Lin Feng had only heard of Snow Province's Xiang clan, but did not know much about them. As one of the most powerful clans in Snow Province's Xiang clan was naturally unscrupulous in their actions. Soon, dozens of strange beasts stopped in front of the inn. A handsome cultivator stepped out of an ancient bronze chariot. The cultivator was very young, with black hair and eyes like stars. Who's that? Lin Feng asked. The middle-aged cultivator next to him said, It's Xiang Zijia, an outstanding young genius of the Xiang clan. He's one of the top geniuses in the Xiang clan. It's said that he has a special constitution and is very famous. After Xiang Zijia walked out, he bowed next to the bronze carriage. Soon, an old man walked out. The old man was so old that he needed Xiang Zijia's help to get out of the carriage. He's so old, yet he's still walking around. Lin Feng shook his head slightly. The middle-aged cultivator hurriedly said, Little brother, don't speak nonsense. He's an ancestor of the Xiang clan. He's been cultivating for more than 8,000 years, and his cultivation level is extremely high. Don't criticize the Xiang clan, or you'll get killed. Lin Feng nodded and said goodbye to the middle-aged cultivator. At that moment, the owner of the inn came out to greet the people of the Xiang clan. Granny Fengli narrowed her eyes and said, It seems that many people are coveting the Snow Flood Dragon's treasure. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the ancestor of the Xiang clan had also come for the Snow Flood Dragon's treasure? But what exactly was the Snow Flood Dragon's treasure? Chapter 876. Emo City was very close to Frigid Ice Lake. 10 days later, Lin Feng and Grandma Fengli arrived at Emo City. Senior, when are we leaving? Lin Feng asked. Frigid Ice Lake was 800 miles to the west, where the Snow Flood Dragon's nest was located. Grandma Fengli replied, I can sense a few powerful auras, and I can't move alone. When Granny Fengli said that, she couldn't help but frown. Initially, she wanted to fight alone with Lin Feng, but now she had to change her plan. What should we do now? Lin Feng asked. Let's stay here for now. Someone will invite us to discuss this matter soon. Grandma Fengli replied. The Longling Inn was an inn in Emo City. There were many courtyards here, and each courtyard was separated from the others. The environment was very elegant. Lin Feng went to check in. Cough, cough, cough. Violent coughing sounds could be heard. Uncle, are you all right? A young man supported a cultivator in his 30s and asked worriedly. The sickly cultivator's face was very pale. He seemed to have been injured, and he was coughing up blood. We can't do business with you. If you die in our inn, our reputation will be ruined. One of the managers of the Longling Inn walked out and sneered when he saw this scene. This is your deposit. The manager took out a bag of spirit stones and placed it on the table. The young man said angrily, What's the meaning of this? We don't welcome you and your nephew. Don't you understand human language? Take the spirit stones and leave, or we'll throw you out. The manager sneered. Dragon Tomb Inn was the Emo family's business, and the manager was called Emo Yu. He was very domineering, and his voice was very cold. Lin Feng said, "How can you do business like this? You accepted his spirit stones and even gave him a room token. Now, you're chasing him out because he's injured. Business is all about honesty. Why is your dragon tomb and turning hostile faster than flipping the pages of a book? Kid, what does the Mo family's business have to do with you?" Mo sneered. Mo looked to be in his 30s. His appearance was ordinary, and his eyes were long and narrow. He gave off a gloomy feeling. "Little brother, Ink City is the territory of the Mo family. They have always been strong, so you must not provoke them," a cultivator at the side reminded. The sickly middle-aged man also said, "Thank you for your kindness, little brother. We'll just go to another inn." The young man was furious. His eyes were cold. It was obvious that Mo's humiliation of him and his nephew had infuriated him. But now that his uncle had decided to back down, the young master could only suppress his anger. With the support of the young man, the uncle and nephew left. "Senior, let's go to another inn," Lin Feng said. Lin Feng was very unhappy that Mo was making things difficult for a pair of uncle and nephew who were in trouble. Feng Li Popo nodded. She did not have any objections and walked out with Lin Feng. Lin Feng and Granny Feng Li stayed at another inn called Immortal Guest House. On the second day, someone came to visit. Lin Feng was very surprised. It was Xiang Zijia, the genius of Snow Province's Xiang clan, whom he had met before. Xiang Zijia's cultivation was very terrifying. He was already one step into the creation realm. "Granny Feng Li, are you staying here?" Xiang Zijia looked at Lin Feng indifferently with an arrogant attitude. He was of noble birth and was very powerful. He saw that Lin Feng was only in the Yin-Yang realm, which was very far from him, so he did not take Lin Feng seriously. Lin Feng nodded and said, "Yes, I'm staying here. What do you want?" "Go and tell her that Snow Province's Xiang clan wants to see her," Xiang Zijia said. "If there's anything, just tell me. Granny is resting now." Lin Feng said, "I'm afraid you don't have the right to listen," Xiang Zijia said indifferently. He was not deliberately targeting Lin Feng. He really did not take Lin Feng seriously. Snow Province's Xiang clan was an ancient power. Even when Xiang Zijia was facing an expert of the older generation like Granny Feng Li, he still called her Granny Feng Li. He also called her Granny Feng Li without much respect. If he wanted to show respect, he should at least add senior to her name. In Xiang Zijia's opinion, Granny Feng Li was just a rogue cultivator. She was not worthy of his attention. If Granny Feng Li was not so powerful, Xiang Zijia would not even bother to look at rogue cultivators. Lin Feng sneered. "You can represent the Xiang clan? Is there no one else in the Xiang clan?" "Kid, what do you mean?" Xiang Zijia's face suddenly sank. Lin Feng sneered. "Granny is an expert of the older generation. You're just a junior, and you want to see her? What else is there if the Xiang clan is not empty?" When he saw how domineering the Xiang clan was in Snow City, Lin Feng felt a bit of disgust towards them. Now that he saw Xiang Zijia's high and mighty attitude, Lin Feng felt even more disgusted. A junior could look down on an expert of the older generation like Granny Feng Li. It could be seen how arrogant the Xiang clan was in Snow Province. Xiang Zijia's eyes were cold. He sneered, "Impudent thing. Normally, a rogue cultivator like you would not even have the right to talk to me. If I don't teach you a lesson today, where will my Xiang clan put its face?" "Zijia, stop." Just as Xiang Zijia was about to attack, a cold shout was suddenly heard. A middle-aged cultivator flew over from afar and landed in front of the courtyard. 13th Uncle. Xiang Zijia cupped his fists. He restrained his overflowing killing intent. "Little brother, please help me report to Senior that Xiang Jin of the Xiang clan is here to see him," the middle-aged man said with a smile. He looked amiable, but Lin Feng felt a chill in his heart. Although Xiang Zijia was domineering, he was still young and powerful. He could not help but be arrogant and look down on everyone. Furthermore, Xiang Zijia's arrogant attitude showed that he was not good at hiding his emotions. However, this middle-aged man called Xiang Jin was obviously hiding a knife behind his smile. "What do you want? Just say it. I'm not deaf. I can hear you." Granny Feng Li's voice came from the courtyard. She was obviously unhappy that the Xiang clan was looking down on her, but she quickly restrained her emotions. The ancestor has ordered us to invite you to the Emo clan tomorrow. This is the invitation. Xiang Jin gave the invitation to Lin Feng. All right, you can go, Granny Fengli said. Goodbye, senior. Xiang Jin bowed and left. Xiang Zijie glanced at Lin Feng and couldn't help but smile coldly. He then followed Xiang Jin and left. Lin Feng took the invitation back to the courtyard. Granny, the people from the Xiang clan are inviting you over. Is this a trap? Asked Lin Feng. Granny Fengli stood in the courtyard and looked in the direction of the ice-snow lake. She said, the Xiang clan doesn't have the guts to do that. The next day, Lin Feng rented a carriage and personally drove Granny Fengli to the Emo clan. The Emo clan was dependent on the Xiang clan in Snow Province, so when the Xiang clan came to Emo City, they would rest in the Xiang clan. This time, the gathering would be held in the Emo clan. Stop, who are you? The guards of the Emo clan stopped Lin Feng. This is the invitation. Lin Feng gave the invitation to the Emo clan. This is an important place for the Emo clan. Get off the carriage and walk, said the guard commander. Lin Feng looked glum. The Emo clan's guard had probably received an order from his superiors to humiliate Fengli's grandmother. I'm old. It's good to walk more. Chapter 877. In the Emo clan, there were 3 cultivators sitting in the living room. One of them was the ancestor of the Xiang clan, Xiang Hongtu, whom Lin Feng had met before. There were 2 other people. The first one looked to be in his 50s or 60s. He wore a Taoist robe and was called Taoist Yuanzhen. The other person looked to be in his 40s. He had a square face and looked very dignified. He was called Chu Dongchen and was an expert from the Chu clan of the Void Continent. The Void Continent was adjacent to the Snow Continent and was located in the north of the Snow Continent. Although the Chu clan of the Void Continent was only from the primordial era, after the Middle Ages, the Chu clan of the Void Continent had produced many top-notch experts. Therefore, their power had grown rapidly. Even the primordial era didn't dare to underestimate the Chu clan of the Void Continent. Lin Feng followed Grandmother Fengli to this place. The 3 important people inside didn't even come out to greet her. Lin Feng was a bit annoyed. These people were obviously looking down on Grandmother Fengli. However, Grandmother Fengli didn't seem to care. As for what Grandmother Fengli was thinking, Lin Feng didn't know. Grandmother Fengli is here. Seeing Grandmother Fengli enter the living room, the 3 people nodded and didn't stand up to greet her. Granny Fengli didn't say anything. She just looked for a place to sit down. Lin Feng sensed that someone was looking at him in an ice-cold way. He turned around and saw that it was Xiang Zijie, who was standing behind Xiang Hong. Tuesday. Lin Feng sneered. It was fine if this person didn't provoke him, but if he did, he wouldn't mind killing him. Since everyone is here, we should discuss the matter of going to the frigid ice lake, said Taoist Yuanzhen. Grandmother Fengli said, there's one more person who will be here soon. Xiang Hongtu, Taoist Yuanzhen, and Chu Dongchen frowned and said, who else? Could it be Grandmother Fengli's friend? He's not a friend, but I know that he'll be here. Grandmother Fengli looked up and said. Just as Grandmother Fengli finished speaking, a voice came from outside. I heard that you're all planning to fight the Snow Flood Dragon. I have the same intention. Impudent. Do you think the Emo clan is a place you can just casually barge in? With a cold shout, the Emo clan patriarch led dozens of Emo clan experts to surround the 2 people who had just landed in the courtyard. So it's you, you sickly ghost. How dare you barge into my Emo clan? Do you want to die? Emo, who was in the crowd, suddenly sneered. He remembered that these 2 people had come to the Longling Inn and were chased away by him. It's them. Lin Feng was shocked. It was actually that pair of uncle and nephew. Lin Feng had seen them at the Dragon Tomb and before. They had been chased out by Emo. Granny, who is that sickly cultivator? Lin Feng asked. Granny Fengli shook her head. I don't know him, but he's definitely not a simple person. Lin Feng nodded and looked outside. At this moment, the young master said, a small Emo clan dares to be so arrogant? What a laughable family. You dare to humiliate my Emo family? I don't care if he's dead or alive. Take him down. The patriarch of the Emo clan shouted coldly. A group of Emo clan experts rushed towards the pair of uncle and nephew. From their point of view, the older cultivator's face was as pale as a sheet of paper. It was obvious that he was seriously injured. With such a condition, even if his cultivation level was very high, he probably wouldn't be able to use much of his battle strength. However, the sickly cultivator only took one step forward. Everyone from the Mo clan seemed to have suffered a huge blow, and they all knelt on the ground, including the patriarch of the Mo clan. The patriarch of the Mo clan was a cultivator at the third heavenly layer of the creation realm, but he didn't even have the strength to resist. It was only now that the Mo clan members realized how terrifying the sickly cultivator was. Many people's faces turned pale, afraid that they would be killed by the sickly cultivator. Mo thought about how he had chased this pair of uncle and nephew away, and he was so scared that his whole body trembled. How strong! Lin Feng was shocked. Perhaps because the sickly cultivator had been sick for too long, Lin Feng felt that a gust of wind could blow him away. However, Lin Feng didn't think that the sickly cultivator would be so strong. Your Excellency, you seem to have gone too far. Xiang Hongtu's face suddenly sank. As the saying went, one had to look at the master before beating the dog. The Mo clan was dependent on the Xiang clan. Now that the Mo clan's experts were all kneeling on the ground, Xiang Hongtu's face naturally didn't look good. The sickly cultivator said, "If I didn't give the Xiang clan some face, these people would already be dead." Impudent. Xiang Hongtu's face suddenly sank. Originally, the old man's body was lifeless and gave people the feeling that he was about to die. However, at this moment, his body seemed to explode like a flood, and an aura that caused the void to tremble surged out. In the next moment, Xiang Hongtu disappeared from the hall. He appeared in front of the sickly cultivator and used the Overlord Fist to attack him. I've long heard of the power of the Xiang clan's Overlord Fist. Today, I'll experience it for myself. The sickly cultivator's expression was indifferent. He waved his right fist and swept it towards Xiang Hongtu. Behind him, the phantom of a demon god appeared. This was the demon god's fist. Bang. It was as if two ancient divine mountains had collided, and the ground cracked. Xiang Hongtu was forced to take a step back. Too strong, really too strong. This person's body is heavily injured, but he still forced Xiang Hongtu to retreat. Lin Feng was shocked. Cough, cough, cough. After attacking once, the sickly cultivator coughed violently. His face became even paler. This attack seemed to have affected his injuries, and his body's condition was getting worse. Uncle, the young man looked at the sickly cultivator worriedly. I won't die yet. Don't worry, the sickly cultivator smiled. Who are you? Xiang Hongtu's expression was gloomy. Jin Daoyan of the Demon Clan. The sickly cultivator said. What? You're Jin Daoyan of the Demon Clan. Everyone was shocked. Even Granny Feng Li stood up. Grandma, who is he? Is he famous? Lin Feng asked doubtfully. He's the golden-winged great rock king of the Demon Clan. Grandma Feng Li said. Boom! Hearing the words golden-winged rock king, Lin Feng felt like his head was about to explode. What a thunderous name. The Demon Clan had two extremely young sovereigns. One of them was the Peacock Sacred Lord. Lin Feng had seen the Peacock Sacred Lord in action in the Misty Forest. More than 10 ancient powerhouses surrounded the Peacock Sacred Lord. The Peacock Sacred Lord sent an ancient powerhouse flying with a punch. His demonic aura was truly vast and mighty. As for the Demon Clan sovereign who was as famous as the Peacock Sacred Lord, it was the Golden-Winged Rock King. 800 years ago, the two of them were known as the two peerless geniuses of the Demon Clan. They were young, but their cultivations were incredible. Lin Feng didn't expect this sickly cultivator to be the Golden-Winged Rock King. Chapter 878. We haven't heard from you in 300 years. It's been rumored that you've died. Although the rumors aren't true, you seem to have suffered a Dao injury. Yuan Zhan narrowed his eyes and looked at King Zhanpeng. Dao injuries were left in the body by the way of the heavens. Once a cultivator suffered a Dao injury, it was difficult to heal them. It was said that even immortal medicines couldn't heal Dao injuries. They could only find the source of the great path to heal them. You're right, Taoist friend. King Zhanpeng nodded. The four strong cultivators couldn't help but gasp. It was said that people with Tao injuries had less than 10 years of lifespan. King Zhanpeng had disappeared 300 years ago. It was very likely that he had suffered a Tao injury then. How powerful must his cultivation be to be able to suppress his Tao injury for 300 years without dying? If it wasn't for his Tao injury, King Zhanpeng's cultivation level would be unfathomable. However, King Zhanpeng's Tao injury made Xiang Hongtu, Yuan Zhan, and Chu Dongchen heave a sigh of relief. If King Zhanpeng didn't have a Tao injury, they wouldn't be able to defeat him even if they worked together. But now, King Zhanpeng had a Tao injury, so he wasn't a threat anymore. Xiang Hongtu smiled and said, "Today, we didn't know each other until we fought. King Zhanpeng, please come in. Let's talk inside." King Zhanpeng nodded and entered the main hall. At that moment, Xiang Hongtu said, "You can all go out and wait in the side hall." This was a discussion between the 5 leaders. Obviously, the others didn't have the right to stay. The Mo family members invited everyone into the side hall to rest. Yuan Zhan had brought 2 young Taoists with him. One of them was fat with a fierce face and yellow eyes. If it wasn't for his Taoist robe, he wouldn't have looked like a Taoist priest. The other one was small and skinny with a gloomy look in his eyes. Chu Dongchen was accompanied by a young man called Chu Jian. He was about 25 or 26 years old and was the leader of the Chu family's younger generation. Xiang Zijia, the 2 young Taoists, and Chu Jian gathered together and talked in low voices. Lin Feng and the golden-winged King Zhanpeng's nephew sat on the other side. "I'm Lin Feng. How should I address you?" Lin Feng cupped his fists. When the golden-winged Rock King saw the young cultivator who had spoken up for him and his nephew at the Dragon Tomb Inn, the golden-winged Rock King smiled. He clasped his fists and said, "I'm Jin Shengyuan. Thank you, Brother Lin, for speaking up for us yesterday." Lin Feng replied, "Brother Jin, you're too polite. I just can't stand the Mo family's domineering attitude." At that moment, Mo Yu led a few maids into the main hall. He bowed and said, "Gentlemen, this is a special product of Shuiyu. It's refreshing and refreshing. Please have a taste." Lin Feng took a sip of the snow tea and felt a refreshing feeling sweep through his body. Snow tea, which was produced in a world of ice and snow, naturally had some extraordinary aspects. "Young Master Jin, I've offended you before. Please don't lower yourself to my level." Mo Yu walked over and apologized cautiously. Now that he knew the identity of the golden-winged Great Rock King's uncle and nephew, he was almost scared out of his wits. Now that he had come to apologize, he wanted to make amends. "Forget it, I don't want to argue with you," said Jin Shengyuan coldly. "Thank you for your generosity, young Master Jin." Mo Yu bowed hastily and left. Lin Feng said, "There's no lack of people like that in aristocratic families. There's no lack of people who rely on their master's power to intimidate others." Jin Shengyuan said, "That's true. In my opinion, dealing with people like that will only dirty my hands." Jin Shengyuan was the golden-winged Great Rock King's nephew. Even though he wasn't even 20 years old and was a few years younger than Lin Feng, he had been with the golden-winged Great Rock King for many years. Jin Shengyuan had his own pride. It seems like Xiang Hongtu, Yuan Zhan, and Chu Dongchen will join hands. I wonder if Granny will join hands with the golden-winged Great Rock King. Lin Feng glanced at Xiang Zijia and the others and frowned. Sighed Jin Shengyuan. Jin Shengyuan sighed. His face was full of worry. He was obviously worried about his uncle. "Master, you've been injured for many years, right? Haven't you found a way to heal it?" asked Lin Feng. "The Great Path is incomplete, so it's difficult to heal. My uncle heard that the Snow Flood Dragon occupied a mysterious cave, and that there was the source of the Great Path in that cave, so he came here. Now, my uncle's injuries are getting worse. I hope we can find the source of the Great Path and heal him. I'm worried that if we delay any longer, my uncle's body won't be able to handle his injuries," said Jin Shengyuan worriedly. If it had been someone else, they would have died within 10 years. But the golden-winged Great Rock King had endured for 300 years. Even the golden-winged Great Rock King couldn't hold on any longer. "Don't worry. We'll definitely find the source of the Great Path and heal your injuries," said Lin Feng. "Hee hee, Even if we can find the source of the great path, it's hard to say who will get it. Besides, it's a waste for a sick person to use it," said a strange voice at that moment. Xiang Zijie pursed his lips and looked at Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan disdainfully. Xiang Zijie had seen how the golden-winged Great Rock King had forced the ancestor of the Xiang clan to retreat even though he was heavily injured. Now that he heard Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan talking about the golden-winged Great Rock King's injuries, he couldn't help but mock them. "Xiang Zijie, who are you calling a sick person?" asked Jin Shengyuan, standing up. His eyes were cold as he circulated his beast qi. He was on the verge of going crazy. "Who's the sick person? Everyone knows." Xiang Zijie sneered. "You're courting death," shouted Jin Shengyuan furiously. He wanted to attack, but Lin Feng stopped him. "Brother Lin, don't stop me," said Jin Shengyuan through gritted teeth. His eyes were burning with fury. Lin Feng said, "Brother Jin, have you heard of a saying?" Jin Shengyuan looked at Lin Feng suspiciously and asked, "What saying?" "If a dog bites a man can't bite a dog back." Lin Feng smiled. Everyone was stunned. Jin Shengyuan laughed. "That's right. If a man is bitten by a dog, if he bites back, he'll become a dog too." "Brat, how dare you call me a dog?" Xiang Zijie came back to his senses. He knew that Lin Feng was mocking him. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. "Did I insult you? I'm insulting a dog, and a shameless one at that." Lin Feng smiled icily. That dog's elder fought against a cultivator who was injured and was forced to retreat. That dog had the audacity to act arrogantly and make fun of that cultivator who was injured. He's a young man, and he dares to make fun of a strong cultivator. He doesn't even know the basic rules and etiquette. I don't know how his clan raised such a dog. He's a disgrace to his clan. Chapter 879. What? Do you think I'm afraid of you? Lin Feng's eyes were cold and fearless. He also stood up, his battle intent soaring as he confronted Xiang Zijie. "Stop!" At that moment, a cold shout came from outside. Xiang Jin had appeared and stopped the fight. "13th uncle, why are you stopping me?" Xiang Zijie's eyes were cold, but in the end, he restrained his killing intent. Young people are hot-blooded. It's normal to have verbal conflicts. "This is just a small matter. Don't take it to heart," Xiang Jin said with a smile. Xiang Jin was a person who hid a knife behind his smile. He looked amiable on the surface, but people like him should be more careful. Lin Feng nodded and didn't say anything else. He sat back down with Jin Shengyuan. An hour later, the five magnates finished their discussion. Lin Feng left with Grandma Feng Li. 13th uncle, I'm so angry that I can't control myself anymore." After Lin Feng left, Xiang Zijie said with a gloomy face. Xiang Jin smiled. "Zijie, don't be impatient. Now's not the time to make a move. It won't be too late to do so after we reach the frigid ice lake." Xiang Zijie nodded, his eyes flashing coldly. "Then I'll let that brat live for a few more days." After returning to their residence, Lin Feng asked, "Senior, are we going to the frigid ice lake next?" Granny Feng Li nodded and said, "The snow flood dragon has been cultivating for 10,000 years. Its cultivation level is already very high. The five of us will hold the snow flood dragon back. When the time comes, you can go into the snow flood dragon's cavern and retrieve its treasures." "Is the snow flood dragon that strong? You need the five titans to deal with it in order to stall it?" Lin Feng was shocked. The snow flood dragon obtained a great opportunity, so it's extremely strong. It'll be very troublesome to deal with. Grandma Feng Li said, "What's in the snow flood dragon's cave?" Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat as he asked. "Inside the snow flood dragon's cave, the most valuable thing is the creation fossil. The creation fossil can subtly change a person's body. The reason why the snow flood dragon is so powerful is mainly because the creation fossil is constantly changing its body. Moreover, the creation fossil can absorb the fate of heaven and earth. You should have heard that if you want to break through to the divine realm, you need to absorb the fate of heaven and earth. However, how can the fate of heaven and earth be so easy to absorb? But if you have a creation stone, you'll be able to continuously absorb the chi of heaven and earth. That treasure is extremely important to cultivators." Grandma Feng Li said. Fossilize. Lin Feng took a deep breath. Just like what Granny Fengli said, creating fossils was too important for any cultivator who wanted to reach the deity realm in the future. Lin Feng frowned and said, "But we are weak. I'm afraid it won't be easy to obtain this fossil. The Snow Flood Dragon's cave is protected by a deployment spell. You need to break the deployment spell to enter. With your knowledge of deployment spells, I think you have the best chance," said Lin Feng. Grandma Fengli said. The next day, the group set out. Granny Fengli and the Rock King only brought one person with them. They were Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. Xiang Hongtu and Chu Dongchen each brought more than 10 people. Taoist priest Yuan Zhan brought 2 young Taoists. One of the 2 young Taoists was called Taoist priest Tian Quan, and the other was called Taoist priest Tian Zong. Taoists were good at refining pills, talismans, and deployment spells. Lin Feng guessed that Taoist priest Tian Quan and Taoist priest Tian Zong were also experts in deployment spells. 3 days later, the group entered the vast and boundless frigid ice and snow lake. The temperature here was extremely low, probably a few hundred degrees below zero. Even if a cultivator's physique was strong, at this moment, many people were shivering from the cold. Lin Feng had no choice but to circulate his magic power in order to withstand such cold weather. "This damn weather is really too cold." Many people cursed it in a low voice, and when they spoke, their voices were trembling. Now, Lin Feng finally understood why the 5 great leaders could only delay the Snow Flood Dragon. In the outside world, although the Snow Flood Dragon was strong, the 5 great leaders would have a high chance of defeating it. However, this was not the case in the frigid ice and snow lake. The temperature here was too low, and their bodies were about to be frozen stiff. It would be good if they could use 50 to 60% of their original cultivation here. However, the Snow Flood Dragon was not affected. Lin Feng guessed that this place not only did not affect the Snow Flood Dragon, but it also increased its battle prowess. "Brother Lin, drink a mouthful of fiery fruit wine. It can drive away the cold." Jin Shengyuan handed a wine gourd to Lin Feng. Jin Shengyuan was also shivering from the cold. The 5 great leaders were the only ones who were in a better situation. They were strong enough to withstand the cold for the time being. "Ancestor, I can't hold on any longer." A few cultivators from the Xiang and Chu families spoke one after another. Their skin was cracked from the cold, and as soon as blood flowed out, it was frozen. "Retreat and wait outside," Xiang Hongtu said to Chu Dongchen. Yes, these people quickly left. As they went deeper and deeper, the temperature became lower and lower. Soon, it reached 1,000 degrees below zero. With this kind of temperature, ordinary people would immediately freeze to death if they came here. Even powerful cultivators already knew that their hands and feet would turn cold. Lin Feng's entire body trembled. How could he fight in such a place? Not to mention 50 to 60% of his battle prowess, it was already not bad to use 30 to 40% of his battle prowess. Right? I wonder if my heavenly flame can resist the cold. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He had refined 2 types of heavenly flame. The heavenly flame was scorching hot, and the temperature here was extremely cold. If it was an ordinary flame, it would have been extinguished in an instant. But the heavenly flame was different. The fire seed of the heavenly flame would never be extinguished. Lin Feng's spiritual will communicated with the heavenly flame. The 2 types of heavenly flame covered Lin Feng's entire body. Suddenly, Lin Feng felt the cold dispel. His almost frozen body was quickly recovering. This made Lin Feng very happy. However, in order to not attract attention, he still pretended to be shivering from the cold. "We're here. The Snow Flood Dragon's cave is in front of us," Xiang Hongtu said in a deep voice. "Do you see that mountain peak? About 1,000 meters deep in the lake, there is a cave, which is the Snow Flood Dragon's cave. Later, we will lure the Snow Flood Dragon out and stall it. You guys enter the Snow Flood Dragon's cave and take out the Snow Flood Dragon's treasure," Taoist priest Yuan Zhan said. Everyone nodded. The 5 great powerhouses quickly flew towards the mountain peak in the middle of the frigid ice lake. This mountain peak was densely covered with restrictions. The surroundings even formed a distorted wave. Heavy snow fluttered, but there was not a single snowflake on the mountain peak. Bang! The 5 great powerhouses made their moves and slapped the mountain peak with their palms. Rumble. The entire mountain peak began to shake violently. Who dares to disturb my slumber? Suddenly, a cold voice came from the depths of the frigid ice lake. Immediately after, the earth and mountains shook. Whoosh! Huge waves surged to the sky. A huge, snow-white creature quickly flew out. It was 10,000 meters long, and its body was like a snake. It was covered in scales, and it had 4 limbs. Its head was like a dragon's, and it had a silver-white dragon's horn. On its back, there were barbs like sharp swords. They grew from its back all the way to its tail. Those were the snow flood dragon's bone spurs. When the snow flood dragon appeared, a violent snowstorm swept across the land. Endless demonic chi filled the air, as if a sleeping demonic god had awoken. Plop, plop. Chapter 880. The 5 tycoons looked extremely serious. In this place, the temperature was extremely cold and their strength was greatly suppressed. Therefore, they had to be extremely careful when facing the snow flood dragon. Boom! The 5 tycoons attacked the snow flood dragon. They wanted to catch the snow flood dragon off guard. It would be even better if they could kill the snow flood dragon. Despicable creatures, die! The snow flood dragon roared and breathed out ice chi, freezing the world. In a flash, a great battle broke out. What are you waiting for? Attack! Shouted Xiang Jin. He took the lead and flew towards the snow flood dragon's cave. Whoosh! Whoosh! But very quickly, a blood-curdling scream was heard. A strong cultivator of the Chu clan's body was frozen and cracked. He was swallowed by the bone-chilling lake water. His body was soon frozen to pieces. The temperature of the lake water was even lower than outside. It was definitely below 1,000 degrees Celsius. The deeper they went, the colder it became. Another blood-curdling scream was heard. This time, a strong cultivator of the Xiang clan was submerged in the lake water. His body was frozen and cracked. That snow flood dragon is really abnormal. It lives in such a cold place, said Lin Feng. He was speechless. Even though his body was covered by heavenly fire and was covered by a layer of qi, he could still feel the bone-chilling coldness in the water. That snow flood dragon isn't simple. It used to be one of the overlords of the South Sea world, but because it was too cruel, it devoured many cultivators. Many people died tragically. The cultivators of the South Sea world joined forces to kill it, but it still managed to escape. Later, it hid in the frigid ice and snow lake. Who would have thought that it would find a fortuitous encounter here? Said Jin Shengyuan. Lin Feng nodded. Snow flood dragons were ferocious beasts. Once they practiced cultivation, they would become extremely ferocious. Lin Feng had seen the nether demon shark devour an island in the East Sea world. Millions of people had been swallowed by the nether demon shark. The destructive power of these ferocious beasts was extremely terrifying. They continued diving. When they were about 300 meters down, they heard another blood-curdling scream. 3 strong cultivators of the Xiang clan and the Chu clan had been frozen to death. Flame Rhino Boat, Xiang Jin said in a deep voice. Xiang Zijia nodded and took out a treasure. It was a small boat the size of a palm. The small boat was surrounded by flames. After Xiang Zijia poured his magic power into the small boat, it quickly grew to a length of 7 to 8 meters. Enter the Flame Rhinoceros Boat. Xiang Zijia shouted and took the lead to enter the Fire Rhino Boat, followed by Xiang Jin, Daoist Tianzong, and the cultivators of the Chu family. This Fire Rhino Boat was a magic treasure forged from the rhinoceros horn of a fire attribute demonic beast called the Fire Rhino. Not only could it fly on water, it could also withstand severe cold. These people rode the Fire Rhino Boat and quickly dived into the depths, but clearly, they had no intention of carrying Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. Originally, Lin Feng could take out the 4 ferocious cauldron and use it to protect him and Jin Shengyuan. But now, Ning Hanshuang was sealed within the cauldron. Therefore, he couldn't use the 4 ferocious cauldrons. I have a treasure here too. As soon as Jin Shengyuan finished speaking, he waved his right hand, and a flying shuttle appeared. This flying shuttle could hold 4 or 5 people. Lin Feng, and Jin Shengyuan entered it. The flying shuttle's speed quickly increased as it dived deeper. The flying shuttle was made of fire attribute materials that could withstand the cold of the lake. Soon, they saw the fire rhino boat below. Crack, crack. When they dived to a depth of about 900 meters, the fire rhino boat seemed to be unable to withstand the terrifyingly low temperature and began to crack. The expressions of the 20 people on the fire rhino boat became very unsightly. Xiang Jin said in a low voice, "Increase your speed to the maximum. We must enter the cave before the fire rhino boat is destroyed." Xiang Zijie nodded gloomily and poured his magic power into the fire rhino boat. The fire rhino boat's speed instantly increased. At that moment, the flying shuttle also began to crack. However, the flying shuttle could only hold Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan, so it didn't consume as much energy as the fire rhino boat. Swoosh, finally, before the fire rhino boat cracked, it charged into a cave that was enveloped by a curtain of light. Immediately after, the flying shuttle charged in as well. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan walked out of the flying shuttle. They observed their surroundings. This was a huge platform with a cave in its depths. There were 4 words written on it: Immortal Creation Cave. This should be the cave that the Snow Flood Dragon had obtained. It really is the Immortal Creation Cave. The creation fossil must be inside. Brother Migrez, Brother Tianzong, I'll have to trouble you to break the restrictions. Xiang Jin said. All right. Priest Migrez and Priest Tianzong nodded. They began to break the restrictions. Xiang Zijie's sinister gaze fell on Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. He said, "Shouldn't we get rid of these 2 first?" Xiang Jin's mouth also revealed a trace of killing intent. He said, "There's a limit to the number of creation fossils. It seems that we need to clear out some spots to enter the cave." Chu Jian nodded and said, "In that case, let's kill these 2. Boom. More than 20 experts from the Xiang clan and the Chu clan surrounded Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. "Let's fight them to the death." Jin Shengyuan gritted his teeth. "They're just a bunch of clowns." "Let me," Lin Feng sneered. "The temperature here is extremely low. Even though the Xiang clan and the Chu clan are all experts, the temperature here is extremely low. Although the Xiang clan and the Chu clan were both experts, they could only use 30% of their strength. Lin Feng had heavenly fire protecting his body, so he could use at least 80% of his peak strength. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't care about those people from the Xiang clan and the Chu clan. Boom. Lin Feng charged into the crowd and slashed out with Sky Splitter. Slash. Slash. The sound of flesh being torn apart could be heard. Screams rang out one after another. 5 or 6 experts from the Xiang clan and the Chu clan were sent flying, their bodies torn in half by Sky Splitter. The Sky Tyrant Lightning Technique. Lin Feng's attacks didn't stop. He used the Sky Tyrant Lightning Technique to condense the power of lightning and punched out. Bang! Bang! One after another, the experts from the Xiang clan and the Chu clan were sent flying by Lin Feng. Their bodies exploded in the air. "How is this possible? You're not suppressed at all?" Xiang Zijie cried out in disbelief. "Die!" Lin Feng's eyes were cold as he charged at Xiang Zijie. He wanted to kill this person the most. "Brat, do you really want to fight to the death?" Xiang Jin's expression was gloomy. He took out a treasure, a small golden bell. It emanated a terrifying aura that seemed capable of destroying the world. The small golden bell was actually a Dao treasure. Lin Feng frowned. His opponents had Dao treasures, so it would be very difficult to deal with them. Continuing to fight would only be a waste of time. If the Snow Flood Dragon escaped from the 5 leaders and returned to its nest, everyone would die here. Lin Feng sneered and didn't attack again. He looked at Jin Shengyuan and said, "Protect me. I'll break the formation." Jin Shengyuan nodded. It was obvious that Jin Shengyuan had made ample preparations. He also took out a Dao treasure, which was a blood-red sword surrounded by a bloody light. Jin Shengyuan held the Dao treasure and looked at the people around him cautiously. Xiang Jin and the others had wanted to wait for Lin Feng to break the formation before attacking Lin Feng. They wanted to catch Lin Feng off guard, but when they saw Jin Shengyuan's Dao treasure, they had no choice but to give up. Lin Feng's skills as a heaven-ranked formation master were fully displayed. Coupled with the fact that he had the mountain-moving Daoist's method of breaking formations, He was the first to break the formation. He and Jin Shengyuan quickly entered the formation. Then, Lin Feng sealed the formation so that Xiang Jin, Xiang Zijia, and the others couldn't enter. Damn it, they went in. Xiang Jin, Xiang Zijia, and the others' expressions were ugly. Open. At that moment, Tian Zong and Tian Quan worked together to break the formation. Chase after them. If they get the creation stone, kill them at all costs. Chapter 881. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan rushed into the depths of the cave. When they arrived, they saw a strange stone in the middle of the cave. Half of the stone was surrounded by black qi, the other half was surrounded by white qi. Yin and yang qi were revolving around it. Good heavens, this must be the creation stone. It's made of yin and yang qi. No wonder the snow flood dragon is so strong. Lin Feng was astonished. Collect. He unleashed a powerful dermic power to collect the creation stone. However, at this moment, powerful formation runes surged out. Around the creation stone, the formation runes intertwined. The deployment inscriptions released a terrifying power and moved towards Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. At that moment, Xiang Jin, Xiang Zijia, Chu Jian, Tian Quan, Tian Zong, and the others rushed in as well. Use your Tao weapon to stop them. I'll break the deployment inscriptions, said Lin Feng. Jin Shengyuan nodded solemnly. He wielded his blood-red sword and slashed at the dozen or so people who had entered the cave. His sword chi moved towards Xiang Jin and the others. Die! Xiang Jin shouted coldly and took out his small golden bell. The small golden bell was also a Tao artifact and possessed boundless power. Now that it had been activated, it emitted waves of destructive energy waves and blasted towards Jin Shengyuan. Clang! The attacks from the two Tao tools collided violently in the void. Many people coughed up blood because of the shockwaves. That was a Tao weapon. When Tao weapons collided, they were extremely powerful. Even a cultivator of the yin-yang layer could die from a Tao weapons collision. Now that the Tao weapons had collided, they had indeed created a great destructive power. Shouted Xiang Jin. Everybody, activate your Tao weapons with me. If we kill Jin Shengyuan, Lin Feng will definitely die, and the creation stone will fall into our hands. Die. More than a dozen cultivators poured their magic power into the small golden bell. Under the combined power of more than a dozen cultivators, the small golden bell's power suddenly increased greatly. The small golden bell swept over and collided with Jin Shengyuan's blood-red sword. Whoa! Jin Shengyuan coughed up blood because of the power of the bell. His face turned pale. He also wielded a Tao artifact. The other party had over 10 cultivators, activating the Tao artifact together. Naturally, the power unleashed by the Tao artifact was far superior to the power unleashed by Jin Shengyuan alone. However, Jin Shengyuan knew that he could not take a step back now. Once he retreated, Lin Feng, who was in the middle of breaking the formation, would be attacked by these people. At that time, all his efforts would be for naught. The fossil would be snatched away by them. Jin Shengyuan was still waiting to create a fossil to extend the life of his uncle, the golden-winged Great Pong Emperor. Life burn. Jin Shengyuan roared. His life force started to burn crazily. Jin Shengyuan only had 1,000 years of lifespan. However, he had instantly burned 500 years of his lifespan. Jin Shengyuan burned his lifespan without any regard for his life to activate the Tao artifact. Lin Feng's expression changed drastically. He did not expect Jin Shengyuan to be so crazy. Uncle is my only family. I won't let him die. I want to save him. Jin Shengyuan gritted his teeth. Lin Feng was moved by his words. That was what it meant to have blood relations. It was just like Lin Feng's third uncle, Lin Xiong. In order to save Lin Feng, he knew that he would die, but he still pushed Lin Feng away. In the end, Lin Feng survived, but Lin Xiong was killed by Dugu Outyin. In order to save his uncle, Jin Shengyuan was also willing to burn his lifespan without regard for his own life. After burning 500 years of his lifespan, the weapon spirit of the blood-colored sword awakened. Blood-robed sword sovereign, sword shakes the 9 heavens. An endless amount of blood mist was being emitted from the blood-red longsword, which was a Tao artifact. A mysterious man wearing a blood-red robe appeared in the blood mist. This was the weapon spirit of the blood-colored sword. With the weapon spirit awakened, the power of the Tao artifact increased greatly. Then, dense blood-colored sword chi shot toward Xiang Jin and the others. Is this guy crazy? The expressions of Xiang Jin and the others changed drastically. Cultivators cherish their lives the most. Normally, very few cultivators would burn their lifespan to activate their magic treasures. Xiang Jin and the others did not expect Jin Shengyuan to burn his lifespan. He did not just burn his lifespan. Moreover, he burned his lifespan for 500 years in one go. This was crazy. Xiang Jin and the others hurriedly controlled the golden bell to enlarge and block in front of them. The dense sword chi bombarded the golden bell, as if a giant spirit god was striking the golden bell. The golden bell was sent flying. It then slammed into Xiang Jin, Xiang Zijia, and the others, sending them flying as well. Their faces were as pale as paper. Xiang Jin said in a low voice, "Everyone, Jin Shengyuan burned 500 years of his lifespan to awaken the weapon spirit of the Tao artifact. Let's not cherish our lives anymore. We should also burn our lifespan to awaken the weapon spirit. Otherwise, the fossil will be taken by them." Although the group did not want to burn their lifespan, it was obvious that they had no other choice. One by one, they began to burn their lifespan to activate the golden bell. Break! Just as Xiang Jin, Xiang Zijia, and the others were burning their lifespan to activate the golden bell, Lin Feng shouted. He immediately broke the restriction that enveloped the fossil and took it. The 7 treasures glazed pagoda appeared. Next, Lin Feng took out the 7 treasures glazed pagoda and used it to protect himself and Jin Shengyuan. It's finally done. Jin Shengyuan was extremely excited. Stop them! Xiang Jin, Xiang Zijia, and the others were going crazy. Their faces were contorted. They had more than 20 people at most, and there were as many experts as there were clouds in the sky. On the other hand, Lin Feng's side only had 2 people. If the fossil was snatched away despite having such a huge force, they would feel extremely aggrieved. More than 10 people frantically activated the golden bell to attack Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. The golden bell's weapon spirit also appeared. It was a big, golden man. He swung his fist. However, Lin Feng's 7 treasures glazed pagoda's defense was too strong. It blocked the golden bell's attack. As for Jin Shengyuan, he took out his blood-colored sword and slashed at the cultivators blocking his way. Puff, puff, puff. He killed 3 experts in a row. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan killed their way out. The 2 of them quickly rushed out. Jin Shengyuan took out his flying shuttle. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan entered the flying shuttle and rushed upwards. Xiang Jin, Xiang Zijia, and the others also chased out in rage. They entered the flame rhino boat and rushed upwards. Whoosh! The flying shuttle was the first to rush out. Got it! Lin Feng shouted. Granny Fengli, take them and leave first. I'll stop these people. Golden-winged Rock King shouted. Granny Fengli only hesitated for a moment before rushing towards Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. She grabbed them and tore through the void to leave. You're courting death. The Snow Flood Dragon, Xiang Hongtu, Taoist Yuan Zhan, and Chu Dongchen almost went crazy. They all roared and charged towards the Rock King. They wanted to kill him. I've been injured for 300 years. I've sealed myself and barely managed to survive until now. It's time to undo the seal. The Rock King's eyes were cold. He formed thousands of seals and sent them into his body. Suddenly, an indescribably terrifying aura spread out from the Rock King's body. It was as if an immemorial demon god had descended into the world. The Rock King undid the seal. Crack, crack. The moment the seal was undone, the Rock King's internal injuries also exploded. The Rock King's body began to crack like porcelain. This scene was both horrifying and heartbreaking. The Rock King did not only seal his strength, but also his Rock King's internal injuries. Now that he could no longer suppress them, his body was about to be destroyed. Apocalyptic destruction. The Rock King shouted and pressed his right hand across the void. An illusory world condensed and formed. The illusory world seemed to contain billions of worlds and endless stars. The illusory world was collapsing and being destroyed. The world suppressed the snow flood dragon, Xiang Hongtu, Taoist Yuan Zhan, and Chu Dongchen. The four of them were struck by lightning and were sent flying. Their faces were pale and blood flowed out of their orifices. When the energy dissipated, the Rock King had disappeared without a trace. As expected of one of the two supreme cultivators of the monster clan, the Golden Rock King. He's really strong. But now that he's undone the seal, his internal injuries have healed. He won't be able to hold on for long. The snow flood dragon roared furiously. Those four won't be able to escape from Snow Province. They're dead. They're dead. Xiang Hongtu's face was also distorted. When we catch them, we'll crush their bones and scatter their ashes. Chu Dongchen roared furiously. I'll send their souls to purgatory. They'll never be able to live again. Taoist Yuan Zhan's eyes were filled with murderous intent. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Chapter 882. Whoosh. The air shook and the great Pong King appeared, falling from the sky. Wah. The great Pong King spat out a mouthful of blood, his face pale. Uncle. Senior. Jin Shengyuan and Lin Feng quickly ran over. Jin Shengyuan held the great Pong King in his arms. The great Pong King's aura was very weak. His situation was not good. Jin Shengyuan's face was full of fear. He was worried that the great Pong King would die. Uncle, don't leave me behind. If you do, I won't have any family left. Jin Shengyuan's voice was mournful. Granny, quickly check on the great Pong King. How is he? Lin Feng said anxiously. Granny Feng Li walked over and checked on the great Pong King. She sighed and said, his Dao injuries have healed. I'm afraid he won't be able to hold on much longer. Granny, please save my uncle. I beg you. Jin Shengyuan begged. Where's the creation stone? Take it out. I want to refine it into a Zifu. Granny Feng Li said. The Zifu was a very important acupoint in a cultivator's body. It was the resting place of the primordial spirit. It was also the bridge for cultivators above the creation realm to communicate with the world. The Dao injuries would first destroy the Zifu. After the Zifu was destroyed, the Dao injuries would quickly spread throughout the cultivator's body and kill him. Here, Lin Feng hurriedly took out the creation stone. Whoosh! Granny Feng Li raised her knife and cut the creation stone in half. This was the creation stone that belonged to the great Pong King and Jin Shengyuan. Then, Granny Feng Li made many complicated seals. This was a refining technique. There's not enough time. I can only refine it for a short time. Granny Feng Li said in a low voice. The snow flood dragon, Xiang Hongtu, Taoist Yuan Zhan, Chu Dongchen, and the others would definitely be searching for them. Lin Feng naturally knew this. Therefore, time was life. After a short time of refining, Granny Feng Li placed the creation stone into the great Pong King's Zifu. The great Pong King's aura began to stabilize. Thank you, Taoist. The Rock King opened his eyes. This has really toppled my understanding of the world. To be able to persist for 300 years without dying while suffering from a Dao injury is shocking enough. Granny Feng Li sighed. She then looked at Jin Shengyuan and said, help your uncle up. Let's find a place for him to rest. Granny, thank you for your kindness. Jin Shengyuan was filled with gratitude as he helped the great Pong King up. Swoosh! Granny Feng Li slashed down again, splitting the remaining half of the creation fossil into two pieces. She took one piece, and the other piece was obviously for Lin Feng. Lin Feng stared blankly for a moment before revealing a joyful expression. He had never thought that Granny Feng Li would also help him make some fossils. After interacting with Granny Feng Li for some time, Lin Feng felt that Granny Feng Li was a person who was cold on the outside but warm on the inside. It could be seen from how she treated the great Pong King. Thank you, Granny. Lin Feng put away the creation stone and bowed to Granny Feng Li. There's no need to be so polite. I don't buy it. Let's go and find a quiet place. Hopefully, we can deceive everyone. Granny Feng Li used her magic power to wrap everyone up and flew into the distance. Finally, they stopped in a mountain range. Snow Province had always been covered in snow, so even the mountains were covered in snow. The four of them found a cave and hid inside. Then, Granny Feng Li used a spirit array technique to seal the cave. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. It seemed that he had always underestimated Granny Fengli. Now, Granny Fengli's array technique was much better than the one Lin Feng had mastered. Granny Fengli was not only a powerful blacksmith. Moreover, she was an extremely powerful spirit array master. You guys should take the time to rest. There might be a big battle. Granny Fengli raised her eyelids and said. She was worried that they would be discovered sooner or later. After all, the Snow Province was the territory of the Xiang clan. Now, not only the experts of the Xiang clan, but also the Chu clan, Taoist Yuanzhan, and the Snow Flood Dragon were all looking for their whereabouts. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan nodded and closed their eyes to rest. But neither of them was sleepy. Jin Shengyuan occasionally looked at the great Pong King who was sitting cross-legged in the depths. He was full of worry. With the Stone of Fortune suppressing Senior Zifu, his Dao injury should be suppressed. Senior will definitely gradually recover. You don't have to worry too much. Lin Feng patted Jin Shengyuan's shoulder and said. Jin Shengyuan gritted his teeth and said, if it wasn't for my uncle's Dao injury, the Snow Flood Dragon, Xiang Hongtu, Taoist Yuanzhan, and Chu Dongchen would be just clowns in front of my uncle. How did Senior get injured? Lin Feng asked curiously. Jin Shengyuan's eyes were filled with hatred. 300 years ago, my uncle was going through the reincarnation tribulation. At the most crucial moment of the tribulation, he was ambushed by 9 experts. Although he succeeded, he still suffered a Dao injury. Who were these people? Lin Feng was shocked. I don't know. My uncle never mentioned them. But I heard from an elder in the clan that there were monks from the Buddhist kingdom of the West, Taoist experts, emperors of the ancient dynasty, sacred lords of the ancient sacred land, and even ancestors of the demon clan. It seems like these people don't want the great Pong King to become a rebirth realm expert, Lin Feng sighed. After interacting with the great Pong King for a while, Lin Feng felt that the great Pong King didn't put on any airs. He was amiable and approachable, just like a close elder. The great Pong King had become famous at a young age. Back then, many elders of the demon clan had hoped that the great Pong King would be able to unify the demon clan and end the chaotic division of powers. Perhaps this was the reason why some powers were afraid of the great Pong King. As for the experts who had attacked the great Pong King, it was understandable that there were ancestors of the demon clan. The demon clan's power distribution was very chaotic. Some demon clans didn't care about worldly affairs and stood aloof from worldly affairs. However, some demon clans were cruel and merciless. They killed the innocent and were extremely ambitious. Most demon clans might support the great Pong King, who was a wise king, to unify the various powers of the demon clan. However, some demon clans definitely didn't want to see this happen. These demon kings wanted to live a free and unrestrained life. If they were subdued by the great Pong King, such days would be gone forever. Therefore, some ancestors of the demon clan also participated in that battle. They wanted to kill the great Pong King before he fully grew up and prevent him from unifying the various demon clans. Lin Feng suspected that the ancestors of the demon clan who had attacked the great Pong King had something to do with the demon king of Raging Flames and the other demon kings. This was because the demon king of Raging Flames and the other demon kings were all great devils who killed without batting an eye. They definitely didn't want to be subdued and restrained by the great Pong King. Therefore, they wanted to kill the great Pong King. The great Pong King spent a day familiarizing himself with the use of making fossils and suppressing his Dao injury at the same time. Then, they set out. Before leaving the Snow Province, the 4 of them obviously wouldn't separate. The great Pong King suggested that they go to the Luan Prefecture. The Luan Prefecture was adjacent to the Snow Province and was the closest prefecture to them. If they could enter the Luan Prefecture and leave by the transmitting formation, the Xiang clan, the Chu clan, Taoist Yuanzhan, and the Snow Dragon wouldn't be able to do anything to them. After making up their minds, they set out in the direction of the Luan Prefecture. However, the 4 of them were stopped by the experts of the Xiang clan. The Snow Dragon, the Xiang clan, the Chu clan, and Taoist Yuanzhan were each responsible for one direction to search for the great Pong King, Granny Fengli, Lin Feng, and Jin Shengyuan. Chapter 883. The densely packed crowd of cultivators was probably no less than 1,000 people. They were all strong cultivators from the Xiang clan. They had already surrounded King Zhanpeng, Grandma Fengli, Lin Feng, and Jin Shengyuan. "We've been waiting here for a long time," said Xiang Hongtu coldly. He walked out and glanced at the four cultivators. When he saw the great Peng Emperor, he was astonished. "Your Dao injury is healed. How did you manage to suppress it again?" asked the great Peng Emperor. "I have my ways." King Zhanpeng looked cold. "So you're King Zhanpeng, the former Zun cultivator of the beasts. Now, you're going to die at the hands of the Xiang clan," said another voice. Another cold voice sounded out, and a white-haired old man walked out. That old man glanced at King Zhanpeng coldly. His eyes were filled with killing intent. That old man was called Xiang Mu. He was also an ancestor of the Xiang clan. The Xiang clan had sent out two ancestors at once. It was obvious that they were determined to win this battle. "Grandma Fengli, I'll give you a chance. Hand over the creation stone and leave, and I'll spare your life." "What do you think?" said Xiang Hongtu with a sinister smile. "Don't try to fool a child in front of me," said the old woman. Said Grandma Fengli indifferently. "You're courting death," said Xiang Hongtu with a cold smile. Xiang Mu said, "I'll leave those two to you." "Understood," said Xiang Jin, Xiang Zijia, and the others. Xiang Mu and Xiang Hongtu attacked King Zhanpeng and Grandma Fengli respectively. Xiang Mu was even stronger than Xiang Hongtu. His attacks were extremely violent and overbearing. He also had a precious treasure on him. It seemed like he was waiting for King Zhanpeng to undo the seal in his body. Then, he would use his precious treasure to fight against King Zhanpeng. Xiang Mu had a lot of battle experience. He knew that King Zhanpeng's strength would increase explosively in a short period of time, but the backlash from his Dao injury would cause him to be severely injured. Xiang Mu wanted to drag King Zhanpeng to death. On the other side, Xiang Hongtu and Grandma Fengli's battle was even more intense. They seemed to be evenly matched. In a battle between cultivators, the more evenly matched they were, the more intense the battle would be. "Tear those two little bastards to pieces," said Xiang Zijia with a ferocious smile. Boom, boom, boom. Thousands of experts of the Xiang clan took out all kinds of magic treasures and attacked Lin Feng and Jian Shengyuan. With so many experts attacking at the same time, even a creation realm cultivator would be killed if they were not careful. However, Lin Feng had a defensive Dao artifact, the Seven Treasures Glazed Pagoda. This defensive Dao artifact played a crucial role in this battle. Lin Feng took out the Seven Treasures Glazed Pagoda and it floated above Lin Feng and Jian Shengyuan. "Little brat, are you here to die? Kill them all," Xiang Zijia shouted coldly. Over 100 cultivators around Xiang Zijia took out their Dharma treasures and attacked. Not far away, Xiang Jin controlled the golden bell and attacked again. The experts of the Xiang family also took out their Dharma treasures and attacked from all directions. These people wanted to wear down Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. Although these Dharma treasures couldn't hurt Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan, they were powerful enough to push them back to their original positions. They couldn't break out and were like turtles in a jar. At that moment, Lin Feng took out the heaven-devouring jar. It was a broken imperial weapon. It was the supreme treasure of the heaven-devouring great emperor. Although its power was greatly reduced because it was broken into pieces, it still had a powerful devouring ability. It could devour all kinds of Dharma treasures. After the heaven-devouring jar was taken out, it quickly became bigger. Black fog filled the sky and devoured the Dharma treasures. One by one, the Dharma treasures were devoured by the heaven-devouring jar. Then, the heaven-devouring jar severed the spiritual connection with the Dharma treasures. Barf. Many cultivators of the Xiang family suffered from the backlash and vomited blood. Of course, because the heaven-devouring jar was broken, it couldn't continuously devour Dharma treasures. Many Dharma treasures still attacked Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. However, the Dharma treasures were blocked by the Seven Treasures Glazed Pagoda. Lin Feng charged towards Xiang Zijia. "Little brat, are you here to die?" Xiang Zijia laughed when he saw Lin Feng charging towards him. He used the 1,000 miles of ice to freeze Lin Feng. Immortal divine body, 9 steps of death. However, Lin Feng didn't hold back at all. He awakened the immortal divine body. Then, Lin Feng used the immortal divine body's special ability, the 9 steps of death. Lin Feng took 3 steps in a row. Bang! Xiang Zijia's divine ability was instantly broken. Xiang Zijia was sent flying and vomited 3 mouthfuls of blood. His expression changed drastically. Xiang Zijia didn't expect Lin Feng to have a special body constitution. He quickly retreated, hoping to avoid Lin Feng's attack. While retreating, Xiang Zijia was also awakening his special body constitution. However, Lin Feng was too fast. He didn't give Xiang Zijia any time to awaken his special body constitution. Lin Feng reached out his right hand and grabbed Xiang Zijia's head. With a sudden force, Xiang Zijia's head was removed from his neck. Pfft. Chapter 884. Young Master Zijia has been killed. Many experts of the Xiang family roared, their eyes filled with killing intent. Xiang Zijia was a genius of the Xiang family who had awakened his special constitution. He was one of the top 3 figures in the younger generation of the Xiang family. Xiang Zijia's status was even more important than Xiang Jin, a creation realm expert. Today, there were many experts in the Xiang family, but Lin Feng still managed to kill Xiang Zijia amidst the experts of the Xiang family. The higher-ups of the Xiang family would all be punished. Everyone present would be severely punished. When they thought of this, many experts of the Xiang family were filled with hatred for Lin Feng. Kill this brat. Boom, boom, boom. The experts of the Xiang family attacked. All kinds of powerful divine abilities bombarded Lin Feng. Bang! The attacks of the experts of the Xiang family immediately bombarded Lin Feng's body. Even someone as strong as Lin Feng was drenched in blood. In many places, white bones could be seen. This brat is already seriously injured. Next time, we'll take his life. Seeing that Lin Feng had suffered such serious injuries, the experts of the Xiang family immediately became excited and roared loudly. All kinds of powerful divine abilities bombarded Lin Feng again. These divine abilities formed a torrent of attacks that drowned Lin Feng. Immortal divine body. Lin Feng sneered and began to circulate his immortal divine body. The immortal divine blood emitted immortal divine power and poured into every part of Lin Feng's body. Immediately after, Lin Feng's body recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Isn't this too monstrous? When the experts of the Xiang family saw this, their eyes almost popped out. When the second wave of attacks crashed onto Lin Feng's body, Lin Feng's injuries were already 70 to 80% healed. After enduring the second wave of attacks, Lin Feng suffered a heavy blow. His skin and flesh were lacerated. In many places, his bones were even broken. However, Lin Feng's body quickly recovered with the help of the immortal divine blood. At this time, Jin Shengyuan had already killed more than 10 experts of the Xiang family and arrived beside Lin Feng. The 7-colored light from the 7 treasures glazed pagoda protected Lin Feng. Let's go. Lin Feng held the black dragon sword under the protection of the 7 treasures glazed pagoda. Jin Shengyuan's sword. The two of them slaughtered their way out of the encirclement of over 1,000 people. Then, the two of them flew off into the distance. Lin Feng had golden wings. Jin Shengyuan's wings. Wings Shengyuan's blood. In the primordial era, when the golden-winged great rock spread its wings, it could travel 80,000 miles with a flap of its wings. Jin Shengyuan was much faster than Lin Feng. 10 days later, they arrived at the border between Snow Province and Luanzhou. At this moment of life and death, Lin Feng activated the ancient dragonesque elephant art. Finally, the terrifying aura that enveloped his body dissipated. He quickly summoned the 7 treasures glazed pagoda to protect himself and Jin Shengyuan. The sword that was supposed to cut Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan in half struck the 7 treasures glazed pagoda. The 7 treasures glazed pagoda felt like it had been hit by a mountain. It slammed into Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan's bodies, sending them flying. Their faces were pale, and they coughed up blood. The skeletal creature's strength was simply too great. Asterisk rumble. Asterisk at that moment, a golden light shot into the sky from the forest. Following that, a small golden person drove a golden chariot over. The small golden person was only the size of a palm, but its aura was monstrous. Lin Feng had seen golden giants before, but this was the first time he had seen a palm-sized person. He didn't know what kind of race it was, but its body was so small. Nay, the neighing of war horses could be heard from another direction. Gallop, gallop. 3 stone horses were pulling a stone chariot. A half-meter-tall stone person was standing on the chariot. Stone horse, stone person. Heavens! It's a holy spirit of the stone race. Lin Feng felt his scalp go numb. A holy spirit of the stone race was an existence on par with the sacred battle apes. They were born by the heavens and nurtured by the earth. Once they were born from stone, their strength would be unimaginable. How many years has it been since I saw a human cultivator enter the death swamp? I really miss the delicious flesh. The small golden person licked his lips. His voice was indescribably eerie. Hanshi, you actually hid it from us and wanted to take these 2 for yourself. Are you looking down on us? The stone person looked at the skeleton coldly. The skeleton's head turned, and a cracking sound could be heard. Didn't you come in time? Said the skeleton. Let's go. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan were terrified. These 3 creatures were too terrifying. They weren't something they could fight against. Lin Feng took out the 7 treasures glazed pagoda and wrapped it around him and Jin Shengyuan. The 2 of them activated the 7 treasures glazed pagoda and rushed into the distance. A Tao artifact. It must taste good, said the small golden person sinisterly. He raised his right hand and slashed out a golden beam of light. The skeleton slashed out with a sword. Sword chi shook the sky. The stone person rode on a stone horse, and the space around the horse collapsed. A destructive force shot out from the void toward Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. Bang! The attacks of the 3 creatures landed on the 7 treasures glazed pagoda. The 7 treasures glazed pagoda's defense was instantly broken. After that, the 7 treasures glazed pagoda lost its spirituality and went back into Lin Feng's body. He wouldn't be able to summon it again for a few days. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan also suffered a heavy blow. They were bleeding from their 7 orifices. The 3 creatures were too strong. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan couldn't fight back at all. Die, kid. The 3 creatures rushed over, each of them filled with murderous intent. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan's faces turned pale. They were at their wits' end, but they couldn't do anything in this situation. Just as they were about to be killed, caw, 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 caw. The caw of a crow came from the forest. Next, a crow surrounded by flames flew out. It was an extremely rare fire crow of the crow clan. The fire crow spat out 3 balls of fire toward the skeleton, the small golden person, the stone person, and the stone horse. Damn it! It's the cursed crow. How dare it ruin our plan? Let's kill it together. The 3 creatures roared angrily. They destroyed the fire crow's attack and charged forward. The fire crow grabbed Lin Feng and fled into the distance. You can't escape. The little golden man yelled in a sinister voice. I'll cut you to pieces, roared the stone person. I'll eat your flesh and drink your blood. The skeleton laughed. The fire crow then fell silent. 3 days later, the fire crow took Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan and left. They flew towards the depths of the death swamp for 10 days and passed by a mountain range. Boom! Suddenly, an endless amount of demonic aura shot up into the sky from the mountain range. Ha 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 ha! You've imprisoned me for 50,000 years, but I'm still alive. Despicable human beings, when I recover, I'll eat all of you. A mysterious man in a black robe appeared from the churning demonic aura. The man's aura was extremely evil, and his eyes were cold and emotionless. His eerie voice echoed in the sky. Heavenly demon, run? Jin Shengyuan said with a pale face. Lin Feng was also pale with fright. They had encountered a heavenly demon here. A heavenly demon was an existence on the same level as a god. Even the fire crow and the heavenly demon would die if they encountered one, let alone them. Whoosh, whoosh. However, it was too late to escape now. The heavenly demon's cold eyes looked at the fire crow, Lin Feng, and Jin Shengyuan in the distance. Chapter 887. What's there to be afraid of? It's just a heavenly demon that has been suppressed for tens of thousands of years. Its physical body has already been destroyed, and only a part of its origin and soul is left. There's nothing to be afraid of. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan calmed down slightly. Lin Feng asked, Senior, are you confident that you can kill this heavenly demon? Lin Feng had his eyes on the heavenly demon's origin. If he could kill the heavenly demon and refine its origin, then his cultivation might be able to break through immediately. In the world of cultivators, the bold would die from overeating while the cowardly would starve to death. The fire crow glanced at Lin Feng and said, You're quite bold, but I have the same intention. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Boom. At this moment, the heavenly demon was already charging towards the fire crow, Lin Feng, and Jin Shengyuan. The heavenly demon floated in midair, its sinister eyes looking at Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan as it said with a sinister smile, I really didn't expect that I would be able to eat such delicious food right after being born. The heavenly demon was the most bloodthirsty and brutal of the demons, but it was also the most powerful of the demons. There were no heavenly demons in the Tianwu continent. It was obvious that this heavenly demon was a heavenly demon that had come from outside during the chaos of the Middle Ages. Lin Feng pointed at the fire crow beside him and said, Our cultivation levels are low, so eating us won't help you much. This senior fire crow has a high cultivation level, so why don't you eat it? The fire crow rolled its eyes and flapped its wings, sending Lin Feng flying hundreds of meters away. I'm just joking. Why are you so angry? Lin Feng got up from the ground. The heavenly demon sneered, I don't have time to chat with you. Crow, leave now and I'll spare your life. The fire crow was enraged and sneered, Are you blind? I'm a fire crow, not a crow. In fact, the fire crow had always been depressed. It had been a handsome and carefree person, but it had been cursed and turned into a fire crow. Today, the heavenly demon had called it a crow, which made it even angrier. Crows were a lowly race. Fire crows were a noble race. Who cares what kind of crow you are? Get lost, or I'll turn you into a dead crow. The heavenly demon was extremely arrogant as he sneered. The fire crow was so angry that its entire body trembled. It sneered and said, You've been suppressed for tens of thousands of years. I can see that your brain has been destroyed along with your body. You don't even have a physical body anymore. You're only left with a part of your source energy and a remnant soul. How dare you boast so shamelessly in front of me? Die. The fire crow soared into the sky and spat out endless clouds of fire towards the heavenly demon. Demon swallows the heavens. The heavenly demon sneered. It opened its bloody mouth and sucked. In an instant, the heavenly demon devoured the cloud of fire that the fire crow spat out. Then, the heavenly demon rushed up and waved his right fist, using the heavenly demon fist at fire crow. Bang! A muffled sound of collision was heard. Fire crow was sent flying by the heavenly demon's punch. No way! Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan were speechless. The two of them were confident that Fire Crow could defeat the heavenly demon, but they didn't expect Fire Crow to be sent flying by the heavenly demon's punch. Run! Lin Feng shouted from afar. Fire Crow cawed twice and said, You two go and delay it for a while. I have a way to deal with this heavenly demon. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan could only bite the bullet and attack the heavenly demon. Lin Feng summoned the 7 treasures glazed pagoda to protect him and Jin Shengyuan. The heavenly demon sneered, Lowly ants, your fate is to be devoured by me. As soon as he finished speaking, the heavenly demon punched. Slash! Lin Feng wielded the black dragon sword and attacked the heavenly demon. Jin Shengyuan wielded a blood-red sword and attacked the heavenly demon. A defensive Dao artifact protected them. At the same time, the two of them activated 2 offensive Dao artifacts and attacked the heavenly demon. However, the heavenly demon was too strong. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan's attacks were instantly destroyed. Then, the heavenly demon's punch landed on the defensive barrier formed by the 7 treasures glazed pagoda. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan were sent flying, their faces extremely pale. A Dao artifact is not bad. The heavenly demon's expression was indifferent as he punched out again. Bang! That powerful punch once again landed on the defensive barrier formed by the 7 treasures glazed pagoda. This time, the defensive barrier shattered. Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan were sent flying by the energy waves. The two of them kept coughing up blood. Lin Feng wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Even a powerful existence like the Fire Crow was not a match for the Heavenly Demon. How could he and Jin Shengyuan be a match for the Heavenly Demon? The Fire Crow wanted him and Jin Shengyuan to fight against the Heavenly Demon. Wasn't this like hitting a rock with an egg? The Heavenly Demon quickly charged forward, wanting to destroy Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. Their expressions changed drastically. They wanted to turn around and escape, but the demonic fog rolled over and enveloped the two of them. It was too late for them to escape. "Senior Fire Crow, are you trying to play us to death?" Lin Feng shouted. "No one can save you." The Heavenly Demon sneered and reached out his hand to grab Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. At this moment of crisis, a deep voice resounded between heaven and earth. "That is the power of the curse that has existed since the creation of the world. Now that I have become the incarnation of the god of curses in the mortal world, someone has blasphemed the great Tao of curses. Please send down the power of the curse to punish this lowly creature." As the voice faded away, waves of terrifying curse power descended from the sky, blasting towards the Heavenly Demon. Great Curse Technique. This is the Great Curse Technique. Wasn't this technique lost in the primordial era? You actually know the Great Curse Technique? The Heavenly Demon cried out in fear. He didn't even care about Lin Feng and Jin Shengyuan. He turned around and frantically fled into the distance. It's useless. Once the power of the Great Curse Technique descends, no one will be able to avoid it. The Fire Crow's voice was cold. Boom. The terrifying power of the curse struck the Heavenly Demon's body. Crack, crack. The Heavenly Demon's body began to crumble. No, no, no. I'm not willing to die like this. I've been trapped for tens of thousands of years and finally escaped. How can I die like this? Heavenly Demon Disintegration Technique? The Heavenly Demon roared and began to use the Heavenly Demon clan's ultimate divine ability. Seeing the Heavenly Demon Disintegration Technique, Lin Feng's expression changed abruptly. He had obtained the cultivation method of the Heavenly Demon Disintegration Technique in the Heavenly Demon Tomb, and Lin Feng had also cultivated this divine ability. He knew how terrifying this divine ability was. Once the Heavenly Demon Disintegration Technique was used, it could increase one's combat power by 10 times for a short period of time. Of course, the user would lose most of their lifespan, and their cultivation base could also be greatly reduced. It was the most overbearing and desperate method. The Heavenly Demon was clearly going all out. Whoosh! Lin Feng quickly rushed over. He slashed his sword at the Heavenly Demon who was using the Heavenly Demon Disintegration Technique. He had to stop the Heavenly Demon. Otherwise, once the Heavenly Demon Disintegration Technique was used, the Heavenly Demon's cultivation base would increase by 10 times, and everyone would die. Boy, do you think you can stop me? You're overestimating yourself. The Heavenly Demon sneered, and a demonic hand appeared in the void. The demonic hand slapped the void. Half of Lin Feng's body immediately exploded. Even a body as strong as his could not withstand it. If it were anyone else, they would have died without a burial place. Lin Feng endured the excruciating pain and quickly rushed to the Heavenly Demon. He slashed the Heavenly Demon's body, and the Heavenly Demon who was using the Heavenly Demon Disintegration Technique was immediately interrupted. At this moment, Fire Crow had also rushed over, flapping its wings. The power of the curse surged into the Heavenly Demon's body like a tidal wave. Bang! The Heavenly Demon's body directly exploded, and its remnant soul was destroyed. Only the origin energy was left floating in the air. Ah, the Heavenly Demon's origin. I'll devour. Lin Feng activated his immortal divine body to repair his body while madly devouring the Heavenly Demon's origin. Chapter 888. Brat, this is my Heavenly Demon's origin. Huoya roared and flapped his wings, sending Lin Feng flying. Lin Feng threw himself at the Fire Crow again. He didn't pay attention to it. The only way to stop me from plundering the Heavenly Demon's origin is to kill me. Jin Shengyuan also rushed over and began devouring the heavenly demon's origin. After Lin Feng absorbed enough heavenly demon's origin, the next step was to refine it and increase his cultivation level. They landed on a barren mountain in front of them and began cultivating. Although Huaya was not the strongest existence in the Death Swamp, he was not someone that any beast dared to provoke. The beasts in the Death Swamp all avoided the place where Huaya was cultivating. Lin Feng circulated the archaic dragonesque elephant art and began refining the heavenly demon's origin. Lin Feng was now at the peak of the seventh firmament of the yin-yang realm. The heavenly demon's origin contained the power of tribulation. After refining it, Lin Feng estimated that he would be able to attract the heavenly tribulation. The eighth firmament of the yin-yang realm required tribulation. Only by successfully transcending the tribulation could one break through to the eighth firmament. Of course, transcending the tribulation was a huge and difficult test for cultivators. Since ancient times, more than 90% of cultivators at the seventh firmament of the yin-yang realm failed to break through to the eighth firmament. If they were lucky, they could survive, but they would never be able to break through again. However, more people died tragically. Therefore, Lin Feng had been suppressing his cultivation level because transcending the tribulation was too important. He could not fail. Once he failed, it would mean that his cultivation path had come to an end. After spending 3 days, Lin Feng finally refined the heavenly demon's origin. The power of tribulation surged between Lin Feng's eyebrows. It was the power of the heavenly tribulation. A tribulation has appeared between my eyebrows. My heavenly tribulation is about to descend. Lin Feng looked up. Dark clouds rolled in the sky, and lightning interweaved. Waves of destructive power surged within the lightning. This destructive power fused with the power of thunder. This was the heavenly tribulation. The heavenly tribulation was about to descend, and the death swamp became quiet. Some powerful beasts stayed away from the area covered by the heavenly tribulation. Lin Feng flew into the air. Huaya and Jin Shengyuan woke up from their cultivation. Jin Shengyuan was delighted. Brother Feng is going to undergo the heavenly tribulation. Brother Feng has accumulated a lot of resources, so passing the heavenly tribulation shouldn't be a problem for him. Once he succeeds, his strength will rise to an unimaginable level. The thunderclouds above the 9 heavens grew larger and larger. Originally, they only covered an area of 10 miles. However, more and more thunderclouds were gathering. Soon, the thunderclouds covered an area of 50 to 60 miles. In the end, the thunderclouds covered an area of over 100 miles. Fire Crow was shocked. Cultivators have to overcome the 3 calamities and 9 tribulations. There are a total of 12 Tao tribulations before they can cultivate the Great Tao. This brat is only undergoing his first Tao tribulation. How can his heavenly tribulation be so huge? For ordinary cultivators, it would already be considered heaven-defying if their heavenly tribulation could cover an area of 2 to 3 miles. However, Lin Feng's heavenly tribulation covered an area of over 50 kilometers. It was indeed shocking. Even a knowledgeable ancient existence like the Fire Crow found it hard to believe. Lin Feng stood in the sky, looking at the heavenly tribulation that covered an area of over 50 kilometers. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. His savings were 300 times more than other cultivators of the same level. This guaranteed that he would have the strength to kill a high-level cultivator even when he was at a lower level. However, the heavens were fair. Since the heavens gave him such great strength, they would definitely suppress him in other aspects. For example, Lin Feng was a cultivator who had broken through a long time ago. Now that he was undergoing his tribulation, the terror of his heavenly tribulation was far beyond his imagination. Boom! The first bolt of heavenly tribulation smashed toward Lin Feng. The purple lightning that was as thick as a mountain came crashing down. The void seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. Come! Lin Feng wasn't afraid at all. Instead, he was excited. He went against the heavens and punched the lightning that was as huge as a mountain. Lin Feng's Tao was the Tao of supremacy. The Tao of supremacy was to look askance at the heavens and sweep everything before it. Even in the face of the terrifying heavenly tribulation, Lin Feng wouldn't shrink back. All of his strength was condensed into this punch. Bang! The lightning that was as thick as a mountain was shattered by Lin Feng's punch. Immediately after, the second bolt of heavenly tribulation came crashing down. Lin Feng's second bolt of heavenly tribulation was a huge lightning snake. The lightning snake that was 1,000 meters long descended from the sky. It opened its bloody mouth and tried to swallow Lin Feng. Break! Lin Feng roared and attacked with the Sky Tyrant lightning art. The second bolt of heavenly tribulation shattered. Groan! A loud dragon roar sounded. The third bolt of heavenly tribulation came. The third bolt of heavenly tribulation was a lightning dragon. Lin Feng was extremely arrogant. He went against the heavens and directly tore the lightning dragon apart. This? Jin Shengyuan was completely dumbfounded. He had never seen anyone transcend heavenly tribulation like this. When others transcended heavenly tribulation, they were trembling with fear. It was also extremely difficult to resist the heavenly tribulation. Lin Feng, on the other hand, took the initiative to attack. In a short time, he broke 3 bolts of heavenly tribulation. Not to mention Jin Shengyuan, even Huayu was dumbfounded. The fourth bolt of heavenly tribulation condensed into an ancient war chariot. Wherever the ancient war chariot passed, the void collapsed. Lin Feng roared and threw 3 consecutive punches to destroy the ancient war chariot. The fifth bolt of heavenly tribulation condensed into a sword aura. The sword slashed through heaven and earth and swept towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng, on the other hand, displayed the sword Dao that he had comprehended. He condensed a supreme sword and slashed out. It collided with the sword aura condensed by the heavenly tribulation. The 2 sword auras were annihilated. The sixth bolt of heavenly tribulation condensed into a lightning blade. The attack power of the lightning blade increased crazily. Lin Feng's expression became serious because he felt that this heavenly tribulation was different from the previous ones. Although the previous heavenly tribulations were also increasing in power, there was a limit to the increase. Each time, it would increase by 1 or 2 times. However, Lin Feng felt that the power of this lightning blade tribulation was more than 100 times stronger than the previous heavenly tribulation. The power increased by more than 100 times in one go. The increase was too terrifying. This time, Lin Feng was injured by the lightning blade, and his body was almost cut in half. What a terrifying lightning blade! Lin Feng's expression changed. He took out his golden core and shattered the lightning blade. Then, he used his immortal divine body to repair his damaged body. Die! The seventh bolt of heavenly tribulation condensed into a giant miracle god. It held a huge axe and chopped towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's golden core soared into the sky, absorbing the power of the heavenly tribulation while fighting against the giant miracle god. Clang! Clang! After 36 consecutive collisions, the giant miracle god was shattered by Lin Feng's golden core. Lin Feng's golden core crazily absorbed the power of the heavenly tribulation like a whale drinking water. The fluctuations emitted by his golden core also became stronger and stronger. Rumble! The eighth bolt of heavenly tribulation condensed into a huge army that crushed down. Lin Feng soared into the sky and fought against the army. He was almost annihilated several times, but Lin Feng's immortal divine body was too powerful and was able to repair his body time and time again. Huaya's expression changed. The sixth bolt of heavenly tribulation only appears when one breaks through the life and death realm. This brat actually withstood such a terrifying heavenly tribulation. Jin Shengyuan was shocked when he heard Huaya's words. He asked, since it's necessary to break through the life and death realm, why did Brother Feng have to undergo such a terrifying heavenly tribulation on his first try? Huaya replied, that's because the heavens don't allow such a heaven-defying genius to be born, so they want to destroy him. Boom. At that moment, the ninth bolt of heavenly tribulation condensed in the sky. It was an illusory figure. It looked like a young great emperor. When it appeared, the world fell silent. This is the emperor's tribulation. Huaya cried out. What is the emperor's tribulation? Jin Shengyuan asked. The emperor's tribulation is an illusory figure imprinted in the sky by a cultivator who has reached the emperor realm. That illusory figure in the sky should be an imprint left behind by that great emperor when he was young when he underwent his first heavenly tribulation. It's now the brat's ninth bolt of heavenly tribulation. Hua Ya's expression was grave. Jin Xingyuan's expression changed drastically. Doesn't that mean Brother Feng has to defeat a young great emperor at the same level as him to succeed? Hua Ya smiled bitterly and nodded. That's right. The emperor's tribulation has appeared. If he can defeat the young great emperor, he'll succeed. If he fails, he'll be killed by the young great emperor. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.